I'm Doug Brown. Cardinals defensive end J.J. Watt announces on Twitter he's retiring at the end of the season. Watt was the NFL Defensive Player of the Year 3 times during his first 5 seasons with the Texans. John McClain of Gallery Sports believes Watt is a first-ballot Hall of Famer.
He had 16 sacks in 18. He's played really well this year, and I thought he'd play another couple of years. I was as stunned as anybody when I saw the tweet.
John McClain on Bart and Hahn. Watt is also the only player to have 20 or more sacks in a season twice. ESPN's Jeff Passan reports 42-year-old lefty Rich Hill, the oldest player in baseball, will sign a 1-year deal with the Pirates for $8 million. Pittsburgh will be Hill's 12th different major league team. Nebraska pass rusher Garrett Nelson will enter the NFL draft after starting 32 straight games for the Cornhuskers. Right now on ESPN, the second of 4 bowl games today. At the ServPro First Responder Bowl, second quarter, Memphis leads Utah State 3-0.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. That's right.
And welcome in, Tuesday edition of After Further Review. Musso in for Moscona. Michael Patel is in my seat, and Taylor Sharp is in Paul's seat. We're all shook up here as we get back at it from the holiday season here on After Further Review. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 100.3 ESPN New Orleans, 94.7 ESPN Alexandria, the Watch 104 ESPN YouTube channel, and WBTR TV in Baton Rouge. Great show set for you today. Saints, they get the win over the Browns. We'll talk about that. Somehow, New Orleans is still alive to sneak in or really steal, because it would be straight up theft if they somehow got in to the playoffs. It's a long way to go, and we'll talk about it all here today. It's game week for LSU, the final LSU football game week of the season. Of course, the Tigers, a week from yesterday, will face Purdue in the Citrus Bowl, so plenty to talk about there. More opt-outs, more returns. We have a depth chart for the Citrus Bowl finally, and some really interesting notes to go through on that depth chart. So there'll be plenty LSU as well. Brody Miller from The Athletic will join us at 4 o'clock. We'll talk some bowl game. Corey Roldan from WBRZ will stop by at 4:15. We'll continue the Saints conversation there. There's plenty to get to in the NFL as well, with the Broncos letting go of Nathaniel Hackett, and we'll get to that. And you know Sean Payton's name is going to come up in that coaching search plenty, as it will anytime there's an opening in the NFL, because he's going to be the hottest name on the market. I should say he is the hottest name on the market, so we will get to that. The Pels got another win. We're going to talk some Pellies. LSU Hoops, they begin SEC play tomorrow in the PMAC. Primetime spot on ESPN2 against Arkansas, and that promises to be interesting in a way. Don't expect LSU to win that game, but we'll preview kind of the whole SEC slate for the Tigers a little bit later on in the show as well, and put to bed the non-conference slate there. But do want to start with the New Orleans Saints. They get a 17-10 win over the Cleveland Browns on Christmas Eve in what just looked like an absolutely miserable experience to be in Cleveland, or really any portion of the northern part of the country, with the snow and the ice and extreme wind and extreme temperatures. But the Saints, for as terrible as they've been this year, and there's really no other way to put it, they've been awful. Do you realize that with the win Saturday, that's the first time all season New Orleans has won back-to-back games? First time all year, which maybe if this was, 2003 or 2005, the early 2000s, or even earlier in the Saints' history, or back, that wouldn't have been a surprise, right? You expected that, but where the Saints have been the last decade plus, to get to Week 16 and finally hit back-to-back wins for the first time is astounding. But they did it. And they did it in, again, what looked like a miserable situation. And for all the talk that we've always had about the Saints in cold weather games and not performing well, the Saints actually performed pretty well. Now, look, it wasn't perfect, obviously, but it was a lot better than you had seen them play previously. Only the one turnover. Now, it did result in 7 points, but that's to be expected. They limited the penalties, though. That's something New Orleans hadn't done very well at. And you were fairly efficient on third down. You were fairly efficient offensively, considering you only gained 244 yards and scored 17 points. Again, wind, weather, whatever. But again, 46% on third down. Where the hell was that a few weeks ago for the New Orleans Saints offense? You would have taken that any day of the week, say against Tampa Bay, or say against the Arizona Cardinals on the road in a game you let go, against the Cincinnati Bengals. Go through any of their losses, you'd have taken that. You got that on Saturday, and it was really nice to see. You ran the ball exceptionally well. You won this game, if you're the New Orleans Saints, the way that they had been winning games as of late. And when I say as of late, I mean the previous few seasons, right? You won with defense, and you ran the football. And Andy Dalton made a few nice throws here and there. There were a few more that could have been caught later in the game, but you didn't. But you were able to run the ball with Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara. That might be the one complaint, right? Is why it took about 28 minutes to get Taysom Hill his first carry in the game. You probably could have just started Taysom Hill at quarterback in this game, ran it every down, and still won the game because he was that effective. He averaged 6 yards a carry. He was dominant. The touchdown run was vintage Taysom Hill, where he carries half the opposing team into the end zone with him. So that's maybe your one negative, but it can't even really count it as a negative, right? Because he helped you win the game, and ultimately you got him the ball, and you did what you had to do to win. I thought Alvin Kamara was great again. 20 carries, north of 70 yards. He had the one big catch and run in the fourth quarter. It's what you've seen all year when they've won, when they've played well. Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill were heavily involved offensively. I thought the Saints' offensive line, considering you did not have Cesar Ruiz, and then Andrews Pete goes down in the middle of the game, thought they played really well. Andy Dalton was not sacked in the football game. You kept him upright, and that's against a front that features Myles Garrett, right? I mean, that's a good front for Cleveland. You kept him upright. He was able to get in there and deliver a few passes. That worked well. So overall, you did okay if you're the New Orleans Saints, and you won again. And despite your best efforts, you're still alive for a chance to sneak in. And boy, would it be sneaky. Boy, would it be stealth. It would be a little stinky, and it would just be straight up death, like we said to open the segment, if the Saints somehow got in. Now, you look at scenarios, and we can get into these deeper later in the show. It's odd. I was talking to Hunt when we had the set change, Hunt and Taylor, when we had the set change there in between shows, and I said, doesn't it feel odd that the Saints, even though they won a game and they're still alive in the playoffs, it feels like their chances actually decreased after a win, just because Tampa Bay did what Tampa Bay does, namely this year, stink for 3 quarters, and then with 4 minutes left in the game, Tom Brady looks like Tom Brady from 2007 and scores 2 touchdowns and somehow wins a football game. Saints know that all too well firsthand, but it happens again in Arizona. And then there's a wacky tie break in there that even if you beat Carolina, they still hold a tie break over you. It's just there's a lot that has to happen ancillary to the Saints winning. That's what has to happen first and foremost, but they're still alive. And as far-fetched, as much of a pipe dream as it is for the New Orleans Saints to win the NFC South, 'cause that's the only way you're doing it, right? You got to win the NFC South. As far-fetched as that is, it's still mathematically possible, and because of that, it bears talking about a little bit. So we'll do that as the show goes on. But overall, look, it hasn't been great for the Saints this year. We all know that. The wins have been few and far between. There hasn't been much to celebrate, and I thought they actually played pretty darn well against the Cleveland Browns, against all odds, against in unenviable circumstances. So I did want to at least talk about the game a little bit to start the show and kind of throw them a bouquet because they haven't had many of them this year. But that was a nice win, and you, if anything, prolonged the inevitable for another week. Look, you got the Eagles coming up. That's been a nightmare game for the Saints in general the last few years. And it's really annoying that they have to go to Philly again. It feels like the last 4 or 5 times. I know that's not actually how been the case, but it feels like the last 4 or 5 times you've played the Eagles, you had to play them in Philly. We'll look at Jalen Hurts' status. That's obviously going to be massive because that's been something in that game that has hurt the Saints. His running ability as well as the running back's ability in that game. Remember, that's the game where the 50-some-odd straight games without a 100-yard rusher came to end. It was against the Philadelphia Eagles a few years back. So it's an uphill climb. Again, yes, you're alive. It feels like your chances actually decreased even though you're alive. But again, Bears talking a little bit about the New Orleans Saints, and another hat tip to them for a very good game, I thought, against Cleveland given the circumstances. And you're 6-9. You've won 2 games in a row for the first time this year, and see if you can't pull off a miracle, man. That's what the Saints need. They need a miracle. But they beat the Browns 17-10. Here was Dennis Allen after the game on the win against Cleveland.
We talked all week about this game was going to be a game of mental toughness. I thought our guys showed incredible grit. Starting out the game, we went down 10-0, but the way that they fought back, we got the field goal at the end of the first half, come right back out in the second half, get the touchdown, and then, after the interception, we're able to take the lead, and then the defense goes out and finishes the game. So, man, I got a lot of respect for all those guys that are in that locker room, and I think they showed a lot of fight today. But, yeah, we knew the weather conditions were going to be a big factor, and we knew that we were going to have to be able to run the football and run the football well, and I thought all the guys that we put the ball in their hands did an outstanding job of running the ball.
Well, the ball stopped the run. It was interesting. Kevin Stefanski at the end of that game just kind of refused to give the ball to Nick Chubb, which surprised me because there in the fourth quarter, it felt like the balance had kind of been tipped back to Cleveland, having the advantage along the lines of scrimmage, and Chubb felt like he was popping off about 7-8 yards per carry each time he touched the ball. And, I mean, the one that really sticks out is the second to last drive for Cleveland, the 4th and 2. They threw the ball. And they threw the ball like 10 yards down the field instead of just turning around and giving it to Nick Chubb. So, I mean, look, thanks Kevin Stefanski, but overall, they did a really nice job stopping the run. The Browns were below 4 yards per carry on the day. So, run the ball, stop the run, get yourself a win, and now see if you can't steal 2 more down the stretch and hope and pray that Tampa Bay drops their final 2 as well. That's the path for the New Orleans Saints to sneak in. We'll talk more about it throughout the show. Corey Roldan again will join us at 4:15. We're going to grab our first break of the show here. After further review, Tuesday edition brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. When we come back, LSU Citrus Bowl preparation. Take a look at the depth charts. Interesting things there. Brian Kelly having to get a little creative along the lines of scrimmage when it comes to this game. We have some more opt-outs and another returner that we'll jump into with LSU as well in the next segment. Stay here. It's After Further Review on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 100.3 ESPN New Orleans, and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria.
AFR. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench anytime. Hunt Palmer. And After Further Review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Brought to you by DraftKings, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Look, you got so much to bet on right now. College football bowl games going on. The NBA, NFL season is in full swing, of course, as we move toward the playoffs. You can bet on all of it at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Remember, all throughout the month of December, I've been telling you about this amazing promo from DraftKings. If you're a Pels fan, how about a no-sweat bet on every Pels game in the month of December? That's right. Make a bet on. You got to opt in, okay? So go to the app, the DraftKings app. You got to opt in, and you got to use the promo code Baton Rouge. Make a no-sweat bet. Bet any Pels game, every Pels game, all throughout the month of December. If you lose, no worries. I'll give you your money back in a free bet at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Get engaged, y'all. So much going on right now with bowl season here, the NBA, every single night of the week. Bet like I do with the DraftKings Sportsbook app. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select purchases only. Max reward limits apply. One free bet issued based on amount of initial bet. Eligibility restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537.
Back here after further review, Tuesday's show brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Musso filling in for Moscona. Matt's out on vacation this week. He'll be back a week from today because bowl game, obviously, for LSU, which we're about to talk about here, will be on Monday. We'll do a normal game day type programming there. So Eagle 98.1 game day from 8 to 10 that morning. You'll have post game. You'll have whiskey and wine, things of that nature. So no local shows that day. We'll all be back Tuesday, and that's when Matt will return as well. Put a button on recap the Citrus Bowl and a button on the LSU football season. So let's talk about that game actually right now. LSU and Purdue, Tigers up to a 14.5-point choice in that game. Look, we know everything that's gone down with Purdue. Obviously, Jeff Brom out the door to Louisville. He's taken about 3 assistants with him already there. Brian Brom, who was the offensive coordinator and Jeff's brother, will be the head coach. You know, Aiden O'Connell has opted out. So you have Austin Burton starting at quarterback for for Purdue. You will have they're down their top 2 pass catchers of the season, including the guy who led the NCAA in receptions and receiving yards. You have a starting cornerback out. So there's maybe the game itself isn't as interesting, right? But I feel like the interest lies in LSU's opportunity to close out what's been a really great season, year 1 under Brian Kelly. to get to 10 wins. And this is something LSU's been trying to do the last 3 games now, right? A&M, you had the shot to finish regular season 10-2. Georgia, if you could have scored the upset, you could have got your 10th win. Now you go into this game against Purdue looking for the same thing. And I think you also get a look at a first look at the future of LSU. There's a lot of people excited about 2023, right? You know Jaden Daniels is coming back. You know Kayshon Bootie's coming back. You're going to get a look, your first look at the 2023 Tigers in that game. So while the game itself isn't as interesting, there's plenty of intrigue surrounding LSU still, which I think is worth talking about. When you look at the news that came down this morning from Ali Gay, this is not surprising. This is not really breaking news. It's something we already knew, right? When Ali Gay accepted the invite to the Senior Bowl, remember, he was the first LSU Tiger to do that. When he did that, that was it. He was leaving. He was going pro. Brian Kelly on his radio show last week said Ali Gay wasn't playing. So this is something that we knew, obviously, before it was announced today that was going to happen, that he was going to the draft, that he was not going to play in this bowl. But you finally get the official word from him, and it just reiterates the intrigue of what LSU does on the defensive line for this game. They're going to have to get creative. When Brian Kelly mentioned that on his radio show, that's what he said. You're going to have to get creative because you won't have Gay, you won't have Jaquelin Roy, you won't have B.J. Ojolari, Mason Smith, you lost week 1, so you really have one guy in Mekhi Wingo who's played. Now, you look, obviously, Savion Jones is going to be one of your answers there, potentially the defensive end. Quincy Wiggins, right? Now with the blanket waiver that the NCAA has passed where if you play postseason games, it does not count towards the red shirt. You can still carry over from the 4 games. So now you open up Quincy Wiggins for this game as well at the jack position. The interesting part is when we got the depth chart today, Mike Jones is listed first string jack. I went back and kind of looked and thought to myself, I don't remember seeing him play that position at all this season in a game. Whether it be, obviously, no, look, he's not going to go in front of B.J. Ojolari. I know that. But LSU was out in front of some people this year, right? You could have put some reserves in. I don't ever remember him filling in there, which that is interesting to me for a couple reasons. Number one, I think he can absolutely play the position, right? You remember where the style of guy he was coming in here from Clemson. I mean, he was the guy who can rush the passer, who can also drop into coverage. That's what they want you to do there. So he's more than capable there, but Mike Jones still has, somehow, a year of eligibility left. Is this potentially a tryout for him? If it goes well, maybe that's the role he can potentially fill. LSU, you saw they addressed it in the transfer portal with Swenson, the kid from Oregon. You like what you got in the recruiting class at a high school ranks for that. You got a guy like Womack there, but Mike Jones is a veteran guy who's people thought potentially could enter the transfer portal at some point. Is this an opportunity maybe for him to audition in that role? I'm intrigued by it. He's listed or with Quincy Wiggins on the depth chart there, the 2 deep there at the jack position. So that was something that definitely stood out when you look at the depth chart for this game. But you're getting creative there without Ali Gay. You look at defensive tackle, obviously Jacobian Guillory is the guy who's going to slide in there, you would think, for Jaquelin Roy. What's interesting is on the 2 deep, Tygie Hill is listed as your backup for both defensive tackle positions. Tygie Hill's a true freshman who has not played much at all. He's played in 2 games, Southern and UAB. He's recorded 1 tackle. So, look, you need Wingo, you need Guillory to stay healthy in that game, and Hill to really just provide that breather when they need it along the defensive line. And then again, as we said, kind of to start, Savion Jones and Quincy Wiggins. But interesting to see Mike Jones there, something I'm intrigued by, something that I like. The other news you got, this was Friday night at around 7:30. Greg Brooks announced that he's going to return for his final year of eligibility at LSU. And this is a massive get for LSU. That you had Jaden Daniels return, which is huge. You had Kayshon Boutte kind of shock the college football world in return. Both of those offensive. Now you get a really big one defensively in Greg Brooks. And stabilizes your secondary after you have rebuilt the cornerback position again in the offseason, whether that be transfer portal or through the recruiting class. Now you kind of stabilize safety a little bit where you have a guy whose versatility showed this year in the nickel and in the safety role. Obviously, everybody's going to remember the big interception to seal the Auburn game, and you should. It was his biggest moment of the year. but the experience that Greg Brooks brings is second to none. He's played in 47 games at both LSU and Arkansas combined. He started 43 of them. That's veteran leadership. That's communication in your secondary. How often did we hear that word, that term used this season? The communication needing to be on point or needing to get better for LSU. Greg Brooks is going to help with that, and again, brings the versatility, whether it is at nickel, whether it is just at the safety position where he ended up moving. Remember, that's where he started nickel week 1, and then they moved Jay Ward there, and Greg Brooks took safety. But it not only stabilizes your secondary going forward for LSU, but also for this bowl game. It's big in that regard too, because look, yeah, no Aiden O'Connell, no receivers, whatever. Purdue throws the ball. They're still going to go out there and throw the ball, and that's their path to victory. In LSU, you needed the secondary to largely stay intact for this game, and it has. You'll have Jarek Bernard Converse. Jay Ward, even though he's going pro, is playing in this game, and he'll start at the cornerback position. Now you have Greg Brooks, Fouché. You have Major Burns. So you've largely stabilized it. With Ward moving to corner, sure, that played nickel for you, so that moving to outside corner now, that changes things up. You might have to shuffle a little bit, but you have your guys, and that's what is mostly important. When I looked at this game, the moment it was announced, thought, okay, the one area where LSU can't have the opt-outs is the secondary, because that's where Purdue could hurt you. You didn't have that. Again, they've had theirs, but Purdue's still going to come out here and try to throw the football. So that's a massive get to have Greg Brooks return for all the reasons we just went through. Leadership, versatility, and in the immediacy as well with the bowl game. The other interesting note today surrounding the bowl game is Derek Davis. So Derek Davis entered the transfer portal, right? LSU was going to redshirt him. He enters the portal, and it was a bit of an interesting decision. Kind of caught some a little by surprise, right? You'll remember Derek Davis moved to running back, and you saw him there against UAB, and he was pretty productive. And Brian Kelly was asked about it on his radio show, I believe. It was either the radio show or post-game. I can't remember which one. And he mentioned, well, first of all, we should have moved him there sooner. And then Brian Kelly talked about, that's the last time you're going to see him. He's redshirting. We wanted to preserve a year of eligibility for him because he helped us out moving to the running back position. We needed bodies there. He did us a favor. We'll do him a favor, preserve the year of eligibility. And it sounds like, okay, he's part of the plan going forward, right? And then he enters the transfer portal. And so, all right, well, maybe he wanted to play running back. And you look at LSU's running back room, and it's kind of stacked for next year. You're bringing in 2 freshmen. Noah Kane could come back. John Emery could come back. Josh Williams could come back. Armani Goodwin. A lot of bodies there. Maybe he wants to play running back, not safety, so you seek greener pastures. That makes a little bit of sense. Then today, an LSU spokesperson confirms that Derek Davis is traveling with LSU to the Citrus Bowl. He's in the portal. He's traveling with the team. For what it's worth, they left today. About 1 o'clock, they left today. They'll be there for the week. And I'm very interested to get Brody Miller's thoughts on this when he joins us at 4 o'clock. But I don't think this necessarily definitely means Derek Davis coming back to LSU. He's going to pull his name out of the transfer portal and come back. I don't think that's necessarily what this is. But it's hard to ignore that has to at least be a possibility at this point, right? How many guys from LSU have you seen enter the portal and already find a destination? He enters the portal, hasn't found a destination, and he's traveling with the team to Orlando for the bowl game. And again, kind of the same boat as Quincy Wiggins. He could play in this game and maintain a red shirt and still transfer somewhere else. Or he could still play in this game, maintain the red shirt, and end up back at LSU. I think it's fascinating, just the multiple different ways it could play out. It adds another layer to an already interesting and kind of confusing journey this year for Derek Davis. From safety to running back to red shirt to we want to preserve a year of eligibility to the transfer portal to now traveling with the team to the bowl game. It's just that I wasn't expecting to see that today. And when I saw that's surprising kind of for all the reasons we just talked about. So that's something to definitely keep an eye on. I don't think I'd really be particularly shocked one way or the other with Derek Davis, what happens there. Maybe this could just be another, got a spot on the travel roster, want to reward you, come with us to Orlando. You were a part of the season type thing there too. It's hard to ignore that when a player who's in the portal keeps hanging around their old team. You can't help but wonder. You can't help but think, okay, is this a, hey, let's see where you fit in one more time, and there's a spot for you on the team. We'll wait and see how that plays out. But that one was interesting today, to say the least. So LSU, they are on their way to Orlando right now. They'll spend the week there, probably take in Disney. You'll have all the random bowl game things, which, look, with what Cheez-It did today, announcing their NIL deals, and we'll get to that later, how are you not just fired up for any bowl activities that Cheez-It has planned for you? They're giving guys the cheesiest room ever, 4 of them, and now you get to do bowl activities with Cheez-It. That's something to keep an eye on. They'll be there for the week. We'll talk about that with Birdie Miller as well. Is it a distraction potentially being there for an entire week leading up to the game? But LSU and Purdue, January 2nd at noon in Orlando, the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. We'll have you covered all week leading up to that, and as well on Monday here on our family of stations. We're going to grab a break. Come back on the other side. Big news out of the NFL today. J.J. Watt announces his retirement. We'll go around the SEC as well. It's after further review. Tuesday edition brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana.
Get Gordon and get it done. It's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, and the G team just keeps on growing. Actually, some pretty fantastic news as Trey Morgan has rejoined the G team for another year. Malik Neighbors as well. Of course, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys doing amazing work in the community. Like we talked about the 500 bike giveaway that they did for young people, less fortunate people in our communities around the state of Louisiana. Just another way that Gordon is able to give back. But also through NIL opportunities as well for some great college athletes and using those partnerships. A really cool video, if you haven't seen it yet, on their social media with re-announcing Trey Morgan rejoining the Get Gordon team for this upcoming baseball season with Gordon and Trey at the bike giveaway. So make sure you check it out on the Gordon McKernan social media. Go to Get Gordon on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys on Facebook as well. If you've been injured and you need an attorney, you know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
AFR.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit.
Let's go, defense!
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community.
We are the Tigers.
Get it done. Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
AFR is brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. I want to remind you that we're getting toward the new year. It's almost New Year's resolution time, but you can get a jump start on that New Year's resolution if it's to get in shape, to lose weight, to look and feel your best. Hormone replacement therapy could be the option for you. The Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana are a nation's leader. They were voted the nation's #1 aesthetic practice in the country back in Las Vegas at the National Aesthetic Show. And they're right here in Baton Rouge. So schedule that consultation. Go have that blood draw, run your labs, and let them tell you if hormone replacement therapy could help you feel like your younger self again. You can learn more online at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com.
Back here after further review, Tuesday show. Musso sitting in for Moscona. J.J. Watt earlier today announced his retirement from the NFL after 12, or well, he will retire from the NFL. He's got 2 more games left, but this is going to be the last year. So his career will end at 12 seasons. He sent out a tweet with a picture of him, his wife, and his newborn baby on the field. Koa's first ever NFL game, my last ever NFL home game. My heart is filled with nothing but love and gratitude. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure. Not overall surprising, I don't think, for J.J. Watt. 12 years, and first child just born in October. And if you'll remember earlier this year, had the health scare, had the health issue with his heart. He had to have the rhythm of his heart reset after experiencing atrial fibrillation. Then he played a few days later because he's J.J. Watt, and that's just kind of what he did. He's one of the greats. No one's going to argue that. Anytime there's a retirement in the NFL or professional sports in general, the conversation always shifts to Hall of Fame. And it's not a question of if J.J. Watt's a Hall of Famer. J.J. Watt's a Hall of Famer. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, the only player in NFL history to record multiple 20-plus sack seasons. 2017 Walter Payton Man of the Year, 2010's All-Decade Team, countless All-Pros. J.J. Watt's a Hall of Famer. Work he did off the field. The question more so with him is he first ballot? And I would say yeah. I would say absolutely. For everything he did on the field, what he did off the field, I mean, around here, we all know the story of the $37 million that his foundation raised for Hurricane Harvey relief. So it's been a great career for J.J. Watt. And I guess this is kind of true J.J. Watt fashion, at least how we all view him, where this is a guy who absolutely could have gotten the farewell tour throughout the entire course of the season and didn't. Instead, in a tweet, no press conference, no statement, all of which he would have been deserving of based on what he did in his career on the field and again off in the cities that he played in. Just a tweet. And he'll ride off into the sunset after the next 2 games, both of which are road trips. One thing I'd like to see, because these kinds of things matter to me, I think it's cool. I'd like to see J.J. Watt do the deal where he signs a one-day contract with the Houston Texans and retire a Houston Texan. Because when he does go into the Hall of Fame, he'll go into the Hall of Fame as a Houston Texan because J.J. Watt, for a very long time, was the Houston Texans. Right? I mean, he was the face of that franchise, and I think, obviously, when people think of him, you think of the Houston Texans. So J.J. Watt, calling it a career after the next 2 games. Announced it early this morning. This is his last year in the NFL. Great career, great 12-year career for the former Wisconsin Badger and former Houston Texan and now Arizona Cardinal. All right, we will go around the SEC right now. Keep it in its normal spot. Let's hit it.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
The NFL Network reported Sunday citing sources that Bill O'Brien is, quote, a strong option to return to New England as its offensive coordinator in 2023 after 2 seasons in the same role at Alabama. The report added, quote, the NFL is a real thought for O'Brien. There's been an extension to his 2-year contract. Keep that going underneath me. 2-year extension to his contract. There has not been a 2-year extension. There has not been an extension to his 2-year contract. Any extension would need to be approved by the University Board of Trustees Compensation Committee and reported publicly. O'Brien served as the Patriots offensive play caller from 2009 through 2011, had been speculated target for the Patriots since their offensive coordinator job came open last winter, but of course they went with Matt Patricia.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Texas A&M transfer wide receiver Chris Marshall announced his commitment to the Rebels. 6'3", 205-pound wideout, a former 5-star prospect and the number 3 wide receiver in the 2022 signing class, according to the 247 Sports composite. Marshall appeared in just 6 games for the Aggies this season, making 11 receptions for 108 yards. He will have 3 years of eligibility remaining in Oxford.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Transfer kicking specialist Devin Bale committed to Arkansas as a preferred walk-on at punter and kickoff specialist on Christmas Eve. Bale spent his freshman and sophomore seasons at Northern Colorado before entering the portal on December 2nd. 6'2", 210 pounds, Bale punted 51 times for a 41.08-yard average. He downed 8 punts of longer than 50 yards, long of 71 on the year, and placed 14 punts inside the 20s. On kickoff, 41 kickoffs, 32 went for touchbacks. Bale was a Big Sky Conference Special Team Player of the Week this season for his performance against Northern Arizona and was also named Big Sky Honorable Mention.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
The number 19 Gamecocks will be down 1 key receiver in the Gator Bowl against number 21 Notre Dame. USC senior pass catcher Josh Vann will miss Friday's game due to a knee injury he suffered in the Clemson game. Shane Beamer told reporters on Monday. Vann notched 18 receptions for 296 yards on the season. A former 4-star recruit led the team in receptions last year with 43 and receiving yards, adding 5 scores. He walked on senior day in 2021 and then again this year in 22 after opting to return to South Carolina for one final season. So his career is finished.
The Florida Gators.
And finally, Florida left guard Ethan White announced his plans to enter the transfer portal on Saturday. White earned the starting guard spot for the 2021 season, started all 13 games there for Dan Mullen. At left guard this season as well for Billy Napier, earning AP second team All-ACC. Ethan White is the 22nd scholarship Florida player to announce plans to transfer this offseason and the 4th to do so since the bowl game on December the 17th. That's Around the SEC. It's presented to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. 22 Florida players in the transfer portal. Bumping up there to A&M numbers or the Florida Gators there. Let's see if I have time to do this here because I wanted to talk about this real fast. So obviously we know Mike Leach passed away at the age of 61. Mississippi State then promoted Zach Arnett. But after Mike Leach passed away, the College Football Hall of Fame became a big topic surrounding Coach Leach because they have one of the criteria, you had to have a 600 winning percentage throughout your time there as a head coach. And Coach Leach finished at 596, which, by the way, rounds up to 600, just saying. Well, the College Football Hall of Fame, it's run by the National Football Foundation. They've spoke about it now on the record. National Football Foundation President and CEO Steve Hatchell spoke to CBS Sports over the weekend. Said, quote, "We never just automatically put somebody in, whether it's a coach or a player. It could be the first time they're eligible, but there's always a waiting period." That's the caveat here. There has to be a 3-year waiting period right now, right? If you're a coach, you're eligible after 3 years after retirement, or immediately after retirement if the coach is at least 70 years old. Active coaches become eligible at 75. Candidates for induction must have been a head coach for 10 years, win at least 100 games, and have a 600 winning percentage. That's your criteria for coaches. Mike Leach hits 2 of those 3. He was a head coach for 10 years. He won 100 games. He just doesn't have the 600 winning percentage because it's at 596, which again rounds up to 600. For what it's worth, National Football Foundation Chairman Archie Manning, yes, that Archie Manning, told CBS Sports that it wouldn't, quote, won't be a problem. Leach falling short of the 600 mark won't be a problem. But then our guy Steve Hatchell came back and mentioned that they're not going to budge that 600 winning percentage mark. So you have a little disagreement there. If you don't round that up to 600 and put Mike Leach in the College Football Hall of Fame for the way he impacted the game of football as a whole, because he has a 596 winning percentage, your Hall of Fame is completely irrelevant. And there's really no argument to the contrary. Round it up and put one of the most influential coaches on the game of football in your Hall of Fame, or it's irrelevant. Grab our final break here of hour number 1. We will come back. The Broncos, they fired Nathaniel Hackett. That's not necessarily surprising. We all knew that was going to happen. But do they have a shot at landing Sean Payton? Would he be interested there? We'll close out hour number 1 with that next here on After Further Review.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Any of the 4 locations, tell you every single day. Buy local, shop local over at Clegg's Nursery. As we head toward the new year, remember, this is the perfect time of year to plant trees and shrubs. They have a great selection of citrus trees right now over at Clegg's Nursery. So maybe you want some privacy shrubs from your neighbors. Clegg's has a great selection, great inventory, so get on by and see our friends at Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations, you know where they are all over town. They've been an institution for more than 60 years. And remember, Clegg's is partnered with True Value Hardware Store. So anything you'd find at a True Value Hardware Store, you'll also find at Clegg's Nursery. So if you're a green thumb or a do-it-yourselfer, it's one-stop shop at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on a new 2022 Ford F-150, plus no payments for 90 days and 2.9% APR for 72 months. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside off the bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Winter can be magical. The Mercedes-Benz Winter Event is here, and there's no better time to check out our new Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge inventory. We have the vehicles that can make your holiday extraordinary. See all the latest technological features on the newest models during our Mercedes-Benz Winter Event. Shop our best of the best award-winning dealership. Visit mbobr.com.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, A network built for every possibility. Moving faster than ever before. Streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Closing out hour number one of After Further Review here on a Tuesday. The Broncos fired Nathaniel Hackett Monday morning. Not surprising at all. They've been dreadful all season, quite literally since week one. And his decision-making, things of that nature, have been at the forefront of all the criticism alongside Russell Wilson. They're 4-11. By firing Nathaniel Hackett, he is now the shortest tenured head coach ever in Broncos history, surpassing Josh McDaniel, who was fired 12 games into his second season. At one point, Denver had the number one scoring defense in the NFL and the number 32 scoring offense. They've been awful. And we all know the story, right? Russell Wilson gets the $240+ million contract, comes in. They mortgaged their future for Russell Wilson. He hasn't been very good either. How much of that is on him? How much of that is on Nathaniel Hackett? We can leave that up to Denver radio shows to discuss. That's not what's important. What's important is now they're looking for a new coach, and they're going to be in the Sean Payton sweepstakes. And you've seen it all since yesterday morning. Sean Payton, Denver, is it a fit? Would it make sense? Blah, 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 blah. I say no for a couple reasons. Number one, and Sean spoke about this plenty on the record. We've played the audio here on this show from the Ryan Russillo podcast where he talks about what's important for him when he picks his next destination. Some of the things we've all heard, right? Warm weather. Well, that ain't Denver. Okay, first of all. Quarterback. Russell Wilson, you would think yes. Taylor and I were just talking in the break. You know what I think is one of the stupidest arguments as to why Sean Payton should go there is because a comp for Russell Wilson to Drew Brees, or that look what he did with Drew Brees, throwing out of the pocket as a shorter quarterback. Just because Russell Wilson is sub 6 feet does not mean he's Drew Brees. They are different players. The volume of passing is not there. Drew Brees is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Russell Wilson is not. Not to say Russell Wilson won't get into the Hall of Fame one day. Drew Brees is a first ballot Hall of Famer who has set NFL record after NFL record. Russell Wilson is not. So stop. That's a stupid argument. Why I think maybe more than any reason Sean Payton will not be the next head coach in Denver is, again, one thing that he said point blank is that it's not quarterback, it's not weather or whatnot that's most important, it's the front office. He doesn't have a link to this GM in Denver, and it's a brand new ownership group in Denver as well, who just fired the head coach 15 games in a year one. Not really the stability that Sean Payton's looking for there, probably. And furthermore, off of that, Denver doesn't have the assets. They have a first-round pick, but it's 26th. Right now, they sit at the third pick. That's going to Seattle. The Saints aren't trading you Sean Payton for the 26th overall pick in 2023. And then you also send another first-rounder to Seattle for Russell Wilson if you're Denver, so you got to wait even longer for that. The assets there, that doesn't compute for what many think Sean Payton could be worth. So Denver doesn't have the capital that I think others could offer the Saints in a trade. I mean, look, if the third overall pick wasn't going to Seattle, absolutely you look at it then, because you can potentially get a franchise quarterback at that spot, right? How many times you heard Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Will Levis, whatever. That pick's going to Seattle, so need not apply. And again, the front office, it's just that's not there. Yeah, they got a quarterback, great, lovely. Don't take more than that. I think you check more cons if you're Denver in the sweepstakes for Sean Payton than you do the pros. But we'll see. They're going to be in it, and you're going to hear it plenty as we get closer and closer to next season, to the offseason, and to next season after that. So Sean Payton to Denver, maybe. I don't think so. We'll grab a break, come back on the other side. Brody Miller is going to kick off the next hour with us. We're going to talk LSU Citrus Bowl as they prepare for Purdue. Wheels up to Orlando. Corey Roldan as well. This is After Further Review. Stay here.
AFR.
I've got that blue sky. I've got that sunshine.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
A third of youth who grow up in foster care are homeless 18 months after aging out of care. But you can rewrite that story. Change a child's story. Become a volunteer today.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. J.J. Watt is playing his 12th NFL season, 10 with the Texans and the last 2 with the Cardinals. Watt announces today the last 2 games of this season will end his career. Watt was the 11th overall pick for Houston in the 2011 draft. His first child, a son, was born in October. The Broncos are looking for a new head coach, and ESPN's Dan Orlovsky says Denver is the least attractive job in the league right now.
The guy that comes and takes this job, number one, has to get Russell Wilson playing at a high level. So that's a small group of what guys believe that they are capable of doing that.
Dan Orlovsky on NFL Live. Maryland tight end C.J. Dupree will transfer to Alabama, choosing the Crimson Tide over Ohio State. Sacramento Kings center Domantas Sabonis is questionable for tonight's game against the Nuggets with a right thumb injury. From hockey, St. Louis Blues defenseman Torrey Krug goes on IR today with a lower body injury. Krug will be out at least 6 weeks.
Hi, this is Max Kellerman from Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. All of us here at ESPN Radio would like to wish you happy holidays and a happy new year.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
Let's ride.
Back here, hour number 2 of After Further Review. Musso sitting in for Matt, Mike Patel, and Taylor Sharp on the audio and video boards. Flying, I'm the only regular AFR guy here for the whole week now. Paul's on vacation, Matt's on vacation, and I'm here in studio. So, par for the course, I guess. Great first hour, getting set to kick off the next one here. Talk plenty of LSU. Welcome on Brody Miller for The Athletic, covering Tigers, Citrus Bowl. Week from yesterday, they'll tip it off. Tigers left today for Orlando. Brody, we appreciate the time. Pleasure to have you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Matt.
Absolutely. So, look, I kind of want to start there. They left today, which is, look, you always get there early for a bowl game. You have the contest that they do with the teams or the, food eating contest or whatever they're going to do. LSU left even earlier than that. Kind of a unique situation. What do you make of that?
Yeah. Good question, actually, and I'm not sure. I think part of it is Brian Kelly has his own kind of ways of doing things. Quite frankly, down to having like workouts on the field the day of the morning of afternoon games, and he has his own strange things. And I look forward to asking more about that. But I'm not sure. Maybe it's a little bit of not wanting the guys just hanging around for the holidays. After the holidays too long. Maybe it's I'm not really sure. It's a good question though.
Could that be? Is there any worry, maybe though, that it could cause a distraction? Living out of a hotel for a week leading up to the game.
Totally possible. Yeah, no. I think that's a fair thing. I'm not sure Orlando is the most riveting place to be unless they're like to just be hanging in Disney World or Universal all the time. But yeah, no, I think it's a possibility. But it's also kind of strange just because it's the Citrus Bowl, right? This isn't like some bowl where you got to be like, man, you got to make sure they're locked in for the Rose Bowl. It is kind of odd in that sense.
Brody, where does the intrigue lie for you in this game? Because, look, LSU's a 14.5-point choice right now. We know about all the opt-outs, an interim head coach for Purdue. The game itself maybe isn't, and bowl games lacking the meaning that they do now in today's college football anyway. But where is the intrigue for you in this game?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say intrigue is the right word on this part, but I think the part that just jumps out is kind of, I don't want to get dramatic with it, but like LSU kind of can't lose this game. This has been such a breakthrough season. It, winning the West, 9-2 start, and all of a sudden, if you finish this 9-5 to a Purdue team that is depleted without a coach, all that, all of a sudden, like 9-5, ugly bowl loss, A&M loss, like it all just will get remembered differently, and it will be very flawed season in a lot of ways. It'll feel very strange. So it's like that's my intrigue, but like they can't. Because that would really mess with things. Yeah. But no, my main intrigue, honestly, and it's true of a lot of these bowls where, it's bigger programs, not exactly in a big game, is just kind of it's opportunities for a lot of not just younger guys, but guys on the fringes, And, I think the one I'm probably most excited to watch is Quincy Wiggins, right? Quincy Wiggins is going to have a chance to, basically start probably. He's this freak freshman. I mean, you guys know that. The things I've heard about just like the way his body's developed this 1 year in Baton Rouge, and you have 3 starters on the D-line opting out of this game, and because obviously, as you know, the exception they're making for bowls this year, that you can play the bowl and not lose your red shirt. Yeah, man, he's going to get a chance to go show what he can do. Or I know Derek Davis was allowed to kind of come back from the portal and contribute in this game. But there's a lot of young guys like that. Like, hey, which receivers can go stand out? Which, it's a chance for Jaden Daniels to kind of, cement his spot. I think that's always the young guys is what I'm intrigued by. Who's going to make something of this moment?
You brought up Derek Davis, and I was definitely gonna bring that up as well, because that was interesting to see today, confirmed through an LSU spokesperson that he is traveling with the team, and of course entered the portal. I think a lot of people, when you see that, people's first thought is, oh, well, he must be coming back. I don't necessarily know if that's the case, but I mean, what do you make of that? Because that is an odd situation. You don't necessarily see that much. Once a guy enters the portal, it's normally not long before they announce their next destination.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think this was a bad blood one of those, And also, first off, yeah, he might come back. That's totally possible. I think they do like him. They're high on him. But 2, yeah, I don't think it was a bad blood one. So it's an element of like, hey, man, this is going to help you to be there and get a chance to show some tape and all that stuff. And it's also like, LSU could use all the bodies they can get. So I think it's probably more in that category, but it is a really good question.
Now, look, obviously, the news is a little old. It happened at the end of last week, but Jaden Daniels, I feel like I can't do this without asking you about Jaden Daniels' decision to return. It's obviously big for the bowl game in the immediacy, but much bigger for LSU's future in 2023 if they hope to contend.
Man, that was a fascinating decision because, one, most of the feedback that I had gotten was that his grade wasn't that high. The draft feedback he had gotten wasn't that high, and that for a while there, they really assumed he was going to come back. Then it was kind of like, hey, I'm not sure if Daniels wants to come back just because who knows what's going on with the Nussmeier situation, all that. So him coming back, I wouldn't say surprised me, but was like, okay, that is interesting. But yeah, for LSU, first off, Daniel should be the starting quarterback. But even Kelly is not the type who's going to he has benched returning starters before. I would so you say it's Nussmeier. Either way, sorry. LSU should have every pretty much major player back on offense, and that's jarringly rare, especially in this era where you have this offensive line was so young and every one of them is back, plus depth pieces are back, plus the really good signing class. You got the receiving core. Yeah, you lose Jack Besh and Dre Jenkins, but probably your 3 of your 4 best receivers are back, plus you're getting Aaron Anderson next year. Tight end Miss Taylor's back. I'm listing what you know, but it's like that is huge. And I'm not comparing anything to Joe Burrow, of course not, but I'm using that as the comp that's very common in college football, which is it's really hard to go when you to join a new offense and adjust. You saw Jaden Daniels get better from week 1 to week 8, and that was drastic. Now give him a full offseason where he knows these guys. He has that connection. He knows what's working, knows what isn't. And you saw Joe Burrow take a massive, massive leap with that first full offseason with his teammates. And do not expect that level, but that is huge. So I think this, LSU's going to have flaws. They have some questions to figure out in defense. And sure, there's the whole other debate of, what is the ceiling with Jaden Daniels? All of those are fair. But LSU's offense, when you have that, LSU should be a clear top 10 team next year.
Brody Miller is with us with The Athletic on Twitter at Brody Miller. And see, that's kind of part of my intrigue for this game is you get your first look at a large portion of what will make up the 2023 LSU Tigers, which many are excited about. And you got more good news this time on the defensive side of the ball with Greg Brooks announcing that he'll return for a final year.
Yeah,
just how big of a get for LSU is that?
Yeah, probably a bit of a surprise. Not that he hits a massive draft stock, but just, how many guys want to be, 5-year SEC player? It's just not common. It's huge because it's not just how good he is, and it's not even just the leader he is. He's one of the best locker room additions, and any coach would tell you that. He was crucial to what they got going year 1. But it's the fact that he's like this malleable guy. And by the way, that's exactly what he was for Arkansas too. He was the guy that, a corner shirt, start him at outside corner. A safety, put him at safety, and he played both many times. He played nickel, obviously. That's his natural position. That's so huge, but it's even bigger when we know for a fact it's going to be another makeshift cornerback room. And it's going to be a talented one, right? You're going to have Taviano, Denver Harris. You got some real talent in that room, but you don't have stability. You don't have veteran guys. And that's why having someone like Brooks is crucial. Because, one, if those guys are good enough, heck yeah, play Brooks at safety and you're set. But you also have, your Major Burnses, and you have guys like that already at safety. So you can play in the corner. That's just so huge. And, of course, yeah, he is, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say, kind of the leader of what that defense could be next year. He's probably the most veteran guy there. So, yeah, not the sexiest return, but maybe as important as anyone.
All right, Bertie, I guess I should ask you at least one about the actual game. Purdue, look, we know the opt-outs, Jeff Brom to Louisville, we know all of that. How different are they actually going to look in this game, though? I mean, they probably still want to go out there and throw the ball. What is LSU probably expecting to see from Purdue?
Yeah, it's obviously so hard to predict. My assumption is, they will probably run the same scheme, run all the same stuff. It will look like, Jeff Brom's Purdue. But, yeah, they are going to be without most of the core of it, without the play caller, all that stuff. So, yeah, I think it will be a tough – it will not be some easy cakewalk, right? It will be a Purdue team that's going to air it out, that's going to stress you out. You're on the perimeter. They're going to make life hard. It's still Big Ten football players. They're just not going to have much continuity. They're not going to have much real connection between cornerbacks and receivers, that kind of stuff. So it's like, yeah, LSU should be a pretty solid double-digit favorite here. They should, if they do their job, win this game handily. But it is also, they are still going to be Jeff Brom Purdue, just not without some of their star players.
Would you want to stay in the Cheez-It room that Garrett Nussmeier gets to stay in this week?
It's a really good question. I'm glad you asked. I think I would, first off, just the memory, just to be able to say I was in that room. I think the only thing I think about is kind of like, man, when the lights are off, like, is that room still bright?
Dude, that's a
like,
good
is that
question.
going to affect my sleeping ability because those colors are just kind of bursting and popping? But can you imagine waking up to that? That would be incredible. Just pure cheesiness. I'm all in, man.
Oh, no, that's a good point about the brightness. I didn't even think about that. But, no, I'm all in, too. The one thing, though, they didn't mention a lifetime supply of Cheez-Its, and I want a lifetime supply of Cheez-Its if I'm doing this as well. I mean,
but that's just bad business, man. They don't get to be Bill Cheez-It by making, rash decisions like that.
I don't think Cheez-It's hurting on their business, though, man. I mean, it's Cheez-It. They got they're sponsoring 2 bowl games.
I'm just saying, man. But I think I would hope the room is just littered with Cheez-Its, though.
That'd be fantastic.
Cheez-Its everywhere.
Cheez-It vending machine in the corner.
You didn't know. Like you open a drawer and it's just like more Cheez-Its. Who knows?
Yes. Or in the safe, like the hotel safe. It's just open. It's just filled with Cheez-Its. Not in a bag, just actual Cheez-Its pour out of the
That's I don't want them bags.
Yes,
I
no.
want it just to be scattered Cheez-Its.
For sure.
It might be a little stale, but that's fine.
Hey, we live with it, right? You're in a Cheez-It room. Yeah. It looks awesome. I would want to stay in it as well. Brody Miller, The Athletic, on Twitter, @Brody A. Miller. Brody, I appreciate some time today, man. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks as always, man. Take care.
Absolutely. That is Brody Miller. We will grab a break, come back on the other side. We're going to flip the conversation back to Saints. Corey Roldan covers the Saints for WBRZ-TV here in Baton Rouge. He'll join us, talk some Houdat, Black and Gold next. After further review, stay here.
AFR.
Enhance your holidays with a great cigar from Don Juan Cigar Company and enjoy the season with a delicious cocktail at Don Juan Cigar Bar. It's the best of both worlds. Start by visiting the best walk-in humidor in Louisiana. Our selection of premium cigars and accessories will blow you away. Then go next door to experience the plush and captivating ambience of our cigar bar. Ask about our private room and holiday specials. Make your holidays amazing with Don Juan Cigar Company and Don Juan Cigar Bar, located in Town Center.
At Brock, our after-hours clinic is staffed by medical providers skilled in treating a wide range of orthopedic injuries. We're available nights and weekends, 7 days a week as an alternative to the ER. For more information, visit us online at brortho.com.
Custom Colors of Baton Rouge, specializing in body and paint, feature 100% platinum certified technicians, ensuring your car or truck is being worked on by the very best of the best. Custom Colors, located in the Industrial Plex off Segan and Airline.
Time to give your home a facelift? Call Go Roof. Free estimates, quality work, licensed and insured, experienced, and affordable. Go Roof specializes in residential, commercial, and industrial roofs. Go Roof is a locally owned roofing company proudly serving Baton Rouge and surrounding South Louisiana communities. Call them 927-8300 or visit online GEAUXroof.com. That's GEAUX with a Cajun spell. Go Roof guarantees that you'll be happy with a beautiful roof every shingle time.
The number of children entering the court system due to abuse and neglect in East Baton Rouge Parish is on the rise. Court-appointed special advocates provide a voice for these children as they navigate a difficult situation and system that is unknown and often frightening for them. Become a CASA volunteer today and give a child the gift of your time this holiday season. Provide hope and consistency for a child. Show them hope for their future. Believe in them. Visit CASABR.org to volunteer today.
Hi, I'm Dr. Emily Vincent, a physician at Blue Cross with a health note. Ladies, remember to get your breast cancer screening. It could save your life. Mammograms can help detect problems early when they're easier to treat.
Ring in the new year and prepare to be noticed with the perfect luxury vehicle from Genesis of Baton Rouge. Located on the corner of Airline and Coursey. Stop in today to find the Genesis vehicle you've had.
Finance team, and backed by the one-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Remind you about South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. That's southpointvw.com. Get on by. Test drive any of their line of vehicles over at South Point. Remember, I tell you all the time, 9 different IIHS top safety picks. It's the highest safety designation a vehicle can get. It's one of the reasons I love driving my Volkswagen is I know every time I put Drew in his car seat and I'm driving, I'm in one of the safest vehicles on the road. Erica drives a Volkswagen. Every time she leaves the house in her car, I know she's driving one of the safest vehicles on the road. And by the way, they're stylish and affordable and fun to drive. It's at South Point Volkswagen. Remember, the all-electric, first electric SUV for everyone, the Volkswagen ID4. You can make your reservation right now at southpointvw.com. It's South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
Back here after further review, Tuesday's show brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. The Saints, they get a victory 17-10 over Cleveland, win back-to-back games for the first time this season. We welcome on Corey Roldan from WBRZ. Corey covers the Saints locally. Corey and I actually host a weekly Saints show, Black and Gold Report. You can find it at WBRZ.com, WBRZ YouTube channel as well. Corey, how are you?
Doing well. We're going to get our little Saints rant out early this week.
Maybe not necessarily the full thing. Maybe
back-to-back wins, yeah.
Yeah, back-to-back. I mean, maybe it's not so much of a rant. Maybe this is just like the pregame for the rant. This is the trial run here, potentially.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, I like that. Especially with the Eagles.
Yeah, you know, we're going to get there. No, we're going to get there before, because look, let's be honest. The future is what most people want to hear about, obviously, with the New Orleans Saints. But They did win back-to-back games for the first time this year, so I would like just kind of your thoughts after watching them in an ice storm beat the Cleveland Browns 17-10.
My first thoughts is, why did it take so long to figure out this was a Taysom Hill game and him not getting a touch until about 3 minutes left in the second quarter? Then they proceed to go on back-to-back scoring drives. The big point of that game, in my opinion, Matt, was the team that threw the ball less was going to win. Cleveland down the stretch there had horrible play calling with Watson throwing, and the Saints really won that game with that interception there late, and then they obviously couldn't convert with 30-mile-per-hour winds, and what was it, negative 30? It felt like it was negative 34 or something.
Somewhere around there. It looked miserable.
It was crazy. So bad play calling from the Saints to start, even a worse play calling from the Browns there at the end.
Yeah, why would you not just continue to hand the ball to Nick Chubb?
With Nick Chubb. And you got Kareem Hunt. You need Chubb to get a break. Okay, cool. Run it to Kareem Hunt. I totally didn't get their play calling.
The 4th and 2 on their second-to-last drive where they threw the ball about 10 yards down the field was particularly head-scratching from Kevin Stefanski. But that's why the Browns are the Browns. I mean, that's why they've been in the doldrums as an NFL franchise for basically their whole existence.
Yes. I mean, Saints beat two bad football teams in the Falcons and the Browns. They got the job done, which hasn't been the case this whole season. They got it done.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the future now. I remarked earlier in the show, it's odd because the Saints, despite their best efforts, are somehow, some way still alive for the NFL playoffs, yet even after coming off a win, it feels like your chances went down because of what Tampa did, and now you have the Eagles. If you had to put a number on it right now, percentage chance the Saints absolutely just steal a playoff spot.
Well, I'm cheating because I talked about that in my sportscast last night. It's a 4% shot of winning the division. It went from, I think it was 2.8 we were talking last week to 4. But a wild card in the NFC South, I think, has a really good shot of winning. The Carolina Panthers are playing some really good football right now. I see them potentially beating both the Bucs and the Saints the next 2 weeks.
Well, that's the interesting thing, too. Carolina, even if the Saints do win that game, Carolina would still potentially hold a tiebreaker over the Saints. It's just there's a lot of hurdles in their way. So I think we're both obviously in agreement. Ain't going to happen, right? You're delaying the inevitable. I do want your thoughts a little bit going forward on this Eagles game, though, because that has been one that has just been a thorn in the Saints' side as of late. That's the game where the long streak without allowing a 100-yard rusher came to an end a few years ago. Now, Jalen Hurts' status is up in the air, but how different is that matchup for the Saints without Jalen Hurts potentially in that game?
Oh, it's completely different. And you talked about the last two games. Jalen Hurts killed the Saints. He had over 100 yards rushing. Him and Miles Sanders both had 100 yards rushing back in the 2020 meeting. And then last year, Hurts had 3 rushing touchdowns, and they ran for well over 200 yards. Saints struggle with running quarterbacks. That's something we've talked about in the past with Marcus Mariota, with Kyler Murray, and Jalen Hurts is the ultimate running quarterback killer for this Saints defense. Granted, Gardner Minshew is a pretty good quarterback, but he's a pocket passer. The running isn't as good with Gardner as quarterback, and you saw that last week when they threw for 350 yards. They only ran it for 3 yards to carry against the Cowboys. So the Saints would get a lot of help if Jalen Hurts just stays out another week. But I think they want to, close out that 1 seed in the NFC.
That's the thing, right? The Eagles have plenty on the line to play for, especially after that loss to Dallas.
Would have beat the Cowboys last week. Rest Jalen Hurts. Oh.
I mean, what could have been? But that's the Saints season in a nutshell, right? Is what could have been.
The Cardinals.
The Cardinals.
The Cardinals just, yep, man.
We'd be here all day if we went through all the what ifs with them, man. We hadn't even gotten to their games that they blew.
Yeah. No, you're talking about the Bucs. It's the same thing the Cardinals did. The Saints did the same thing.
So, I mean, it's been maddening. So, again, the future, right? That's what everybody wants to look at. So, I'll ask you, go sit down in Mickey Loomis's chair, put on your GM hat. Saints aren't going to make the playoffs. They need a miracle to do so, so let's assume that they don't. What do you do? How do you fix this? does Dennis Allen return, or are you looking for another direction?
Do you want me to tell you what they are going to do or what I'm going to do?
First, I want you to tell me what you want to do, and then I was going to get to what they are going to do.
So I would completely blow up the roster, right? I believe in the NFL, you need a top 15 quarterback to succeed. The Saints don't have a lot of cap space. They have an aging roster. NFL defenses typically are really good for about 4 or 5 years. You look at the Legion of Boom, and a lot of those guys, and DeMario Davis getting old, Cam Jordan getting old, Marshawn Lattimore is aging, and you see the injury problems now. I would completely rebuild this roster from start to scratch. Start gaining assets and draft picks, and you might be bad for a year or two, but guess what? You're going to get draft picks. You're going to get really good picks. You can go draft a Caleb Williams in a couple of years, a Drake, May, a game-changing quarterback to really start this. And that also starts with getting rid of Dennis Allen and having fresh blood in the Saints organization. I don't think you can have the Sean Payton system without Sean Payton.
So now, what do you think that they do? How do they go about it? Are we looking at another year of Dennis Allen? Are we looking at any type of roster moves here in the offseason?
In case of a miracle and Sean Payton says they want to come back, that's the only way I see Dennis Allen not returning next year. I think they're going to give him another year. They're not going to pay that $10 million buyout of his contract. So I see them trying to, plug the holes of their roster. I think they're going to give this a shot again. They don't have a draft pick. They don't have nothing to lose in Mickey Loomis's eyes. They want to stay competitive. That's kind of the Saints' DNA the last several years. I really don't see a lot changing with this roster, sadly, next season, which could be a good thing because maybe they're going to just be bad anyways, and you get a good draft pick, then you let Dennis Allen go.
One thing that has to change with the roster, though, Corey, is quarterback. I mean, you can't keep going forward with Andy Dalton. It looks like they're content.
But who you go with?
Well, that's what I was going to ask.
You don't have a first-round
draft? Does Hendon Hooker fall into your lap in the second round?
Is he going to be ready next year? So then you keep Andy Dalton until he's ready mid-November. I just really don't see a way this roster really gets better for next year. And sitting here thinking about, do you mortgage more future and you go get Derek Carr or you go get Jimmy Garoppolo? I don't think so. I don't think this roster is in win-now mode anymore. I think that the window or that door has closed.
What do you make of the way they've handled the Jameis Winston situation this year?
I really don't like it. I understand when he was injured and they started Andy because you want the best player at that time because Jameis was hurt. Andy should play, right? I agree with that decision. But when Andy was struggling against the Cardinals and threw those back-to-back interceptions, and there was a few games there where Andy didn't look good. Andy has been solid this year. He's just Andy Dalton. He is what you get, right? But it's just you don't lose your job because you're injured in the NFL. It's just a very bad look.
It looks like his time in New Orleans is definitely coming to an end. At least that's the message they've kind of sent through this whole situation. Again, I'm with you. I've not really been overly overjoyed with the way that they handled that. I always expected him to come back at some point. But look, more questions than answers. Obviously, await the Saints here in the future. What we know is this week they'll go to Philadelphia with playoff hopes on the line, and they need to win first and foremost to keep it going. Corey Roldan joining us here on Twitter at Corey_Roldan TV, WBRZ. Corey, what y'all got coming up there at WBRZ this week?
We're actually tonight going to be talking about Cam Hayes. He didn't play early in the season, LSU basketball. He didn't play early in the season, but has had a lot of good games lately. LSU is 11-1. Got a top 10 matchup to start SEC conference play tomorrow at home in the PMAC against Arkansas. And then we're also going to have a lot of Citrus Bowl coverage with our sports director, Michael Cobble, going to Orlando coming up this weekend.
Y'all check it all out at WBRZ. Corey, we appreciate the time as always, man. We'll do it again soon.
Sounds good.
Absolutely. That is Corey Roldan. Again, y'all check out the Black and Gold Report. Corey and I host that each week. available at WBRZ.com and on the WBRZ YouTube channel. It's kind of a recap of the game prior, preview of the game coming up with some kind of what we did there, some of the future talk around the New Orleans Saints, especially at this point in the season. In between, y'all give it a look see if you feel so inclined. You mentioned LSU basketball and Cam Hayes right there against Arkansas. We're going to talk about that on the other side of the break. Tigers open up SEC play against the Arkansas Razorbacks in the PMAC tomorrow night, an 8 p.m. tip-off. See it on ESPN2 here on Eagle 98.1. We'll get a preview not only kind of that game, but of the SEC schedule as a whole as LSU enters the next phase in year one under Matt McMahon. That's next here on After Further Review.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine in or carry out 24 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, and sports on TV. What more could you possibly want? How about sandwiches? Well, they've got those. What about salads? Pluckers actually has really underrated salads. Giant, gorgeous, fresh salads. You can actually eat healthy at Pluckers. Or you could just binge. Award-winning jumbo chicken wings tossed in your favorite sauce. You want to create your own menu item? Do it. They encourage the creativity. Great sides as well, like the cheese fries, the El Guapo dip, maybe the homemade blue cheese potato chips, holy macaroni, fried pickles. They got it all at Pluckers. Nicholson, just south of campus. Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. The best place to watch the game, which game? Any game is at Pluckers because you can eat wings, drink beer, and watch sports on TV. Remember, at Pluckers, if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Ever wonder how Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal does such a great job installing metal roofs? It's simple. Premier South makes all their metal panels on site, so they fit perfect and without any visible screws. Many of our roofs are still in Grand Isle from before the storm. Don't get stuck with a contract.
Warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Winter can be magical. The Mercedes-Benz Winter Event is here, and there's no better time to check out our new Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge inventory. We have the vehicles that can make your holiday extraordinary. See all the latest technological features on the newest models during our Mercedes-Benz Winter Event. Shop our best of the best award-winning dealership. Visit mbobr.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Remind you about GMFS Mortgage, gmfsmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. Home buy, refi, construction loans. You know where to find them, gmfsmortgage.com. Hey, look, I know interest rates have been such a huge talking point. As, you know, in recent months, we've seen rates tick up from their insane all-time lows in the last couple of years. But rates are still great right now. In an historical perspective, rates are fantastic. Even if you're looking right now thinking, man, I'll wait till the market goes down. There's so many options you have. Maybe if you're still anticipating rates going up, you get in now before rates go up, and when the market corrects, you refi. That's just an example of something you could do, but my highest recommendation is if you're thinking about owning a home, stop renting, start building equity, build wealth. Talk with a local loan officer at GMFS Mortgage. Learn more online at gmfsmortgage.com.
Halfway home here on a Tuesday edition of After Further Review. Musso sitting in for Scone. Scone on old vacay this week. So is Paul O'Neill, for what it's worth, as well. So flying solo here, representing AFR all by my lonesome. In the host chair today, Ronnie Rantz filling in tomorrow, and then I will fill in on Thursday and Friday as well. So you're getting a lot of moose here this week as we lead you up to the Citrus Bowl with LSU and Purdue, Saints, Eagles, and tomorrow night in the PMAC, LSU, Arkansas. Tigers opening SEC play, the first SEC slate under Matt McMahon, phase 2 of year number 1 for Matt McMahon. And phase 1, non-conference, they went 11-1, but it lacked a little bit of consistency. There was an absolutely abysmal officiating mistake out in the Cayman Islands that cost you a game. And I think you come out of it not quite knowing what LSU is as a basketball team. The one thing that you do know is the SEC slate that stares them down right now is not kind, to say the least. We've all talked about the start that LSU has, right? Your first 8 games, 6 of them are against ranked teams. You start tomorrow with Arkansas, who's in the top 10, then you make a trip to Rupp this weekend to face Kentucky. An 0-2 start feels likely. It doesn't feel likely that you're going to have much success in those first 8 games going up against those teams, because not only is it ranked teams, like, look, Mississippi State is a ranked team in the SEC. And the jury might still be out a little bit on Mississippi State. They're 11-1. They're ranked. They've got some nice wins. But are they do they belong in that upper echelon? All the teams that you face, all the ranked teams that you face, I should say, in those first 8 games are the upper echelon of the SEC. Arkansas, Kentucky, Auburn, Alabama. Alabama, who's got a win over then number 1 in Houston at one point this season. Tennessee. Can you steal one of those? Maybe. It's college basketball. Anything can happen, right? Upsets aplenty, especially in that game. Probably not likely. You're looking at a rough start. This is how I look at it for LSU when it comes to SEC play. You have to be the best of the, for lack of a better term, lower half of the league. You have to be better than Texas A&M. You have to be better than Florida, Georgia, Vanderbilt, Ole Miss. You have to be the better squad than them, because right now that's the class you're in. And I think LSU has a really good shot of doing that. I think you obviously love what you've seen from KJ Williams, right? 2-time Ohio Valley Player of the Year. That guy's proven he can play at this level. Like, I'm not worried about KJ Williams in the SEC. I think he's going to get his. Will it be enough for LSU to win on any given night? That I'm unsure of. I think you like what you've seen from Cam Hayes here, certainly. That guy's giving you great minutes if you're LSU. And you're excited about him potentially being a player in the SEC. I think the same can be said for Derek Fountain. It's the rest of everything around that. And what you need to do, again, you need to just be better than the bottom half of the league. Those are the games you need to win. Now, again, when I look at this whole schedule, I'll tell you right now, I think LSU's probably checks in at about 7 wins in the SEC. Hopefully I'm wrong, and I very well could be. But I think they're around 7-12. I cannot right now pick you to win any of those games against the top end of the league. Again, could you upset an Auburn? Could you upset a Tennessee? Sure. I'm not going to sit here right now and be like, LSU's going to upset Tennessee in the PMAC on January the 21st. Like, that's not something I could pick right now. So I would have those as losses. And right there, that's 6. Or right there, that's 6. Now, again, you have games, you have the series that you play 2 with. Right now, I can't confidently say that LSU is going to sweep anybody. It's hard to win on the road in this league, no matter who you're playing. How many times have you seen LSU with really good teams go lose at Vanderbilt? And Vanderbilt's terrible, but it's tough to win on the road in this league. So I have a hard time finding many wins for LSU in the conference schedule. Again, like I said, I think they're 7-12, which and then you probably lose the Big 12 challenge to Texas Tech. You probably check in around 18 wins, which with how they've had to remake this roster in the offseason, can that get you into the NIT? I think it has you on the doorstep of doing so. I think that's a very good. Look, that's what happened Will's first year. You got into the NIT, you won a game, and then we know what happened the next year. You got the recruiting class in here. Can Matt McMahon kind of have that similar success? It's just going to be tough sledding in the SEC, and you need a knock it out of the park home run record to get yourself into the NCAA tournament in the SEC. You have to definitely win double-digit games in order to be on the doorstep of that, because right now you're not close, right? We all know where their net is. It's been talked about plenty. It's 81. LSU, 9 of their 11 wins are against Quad 4 teams. They're nowhere to be found in today's bracketology. Joe Lenardi dropped his latest bracketology today. They are not in it. They're not even in the last 4 out or the next 4 out. That's how far off that is. So that's not even on the radar. Radar is, what can you do in conference play? And again, I'll just say what I've said a couple times here already. Got to be the best of the bottom half of the league. Taylor, I know you've seen this team plenty. Certainly for me, when I look at them, I see a lack of consistency early. I mean, there's been games that they've played really well. There's been games like East Tennessee State, who's won 2 games where they struggled to put that team away down the stretch. There's Wake Forest, right, where you were down 20 and came back. I know you've seen a lot of this team working with the LSU Sports Radio Network. What have you made of Matt McMahon's first team?
Like you said, inconsistencies. Look, a lot of good and a lot of bad. You mentioned KJ Williams, but it's not so much KJ. It's the number 2 guy that bothers me. Who is that? Only 2 guys on the roster average double figures. The other one's Adam Miller, and he's shooting 38% from the floor. That's not good. Also, they were great on defense earlier in the year. I know their competition's gotten a little bit better. They've struggled. I mean, they've gotten into some shootouts, and that's not the type of team they are. Having said that, I think they've done well in a lot of areas. Their assist to turnover ratio, very good. It's been bad in a few games, but overall, it's been 2-1 for the most part, which is about as good as you're going to get. Yep. The biggest issue I have is actually not 3-point percentage. It's this team's free throw percentage. So, look, Adam Miller shooting almost 85% from the line. Nobody else on the team is shooting 80%. You got 2 guys at 77. That's it. Everybody's 70 or lower, including KJ Williams. I mean, you got Miller at 84. You got Cam Hayes at 77, and you got Trey Hannibal and Derek Fountain at 72. Everybody else is almost 60% or lower. I mean, they're shooting 69% from the line as a team. You mentioned you're going to have a lot of 50-50 games. What happens to that? Free throws make the difference in the game. Right now, they're struggling from the line very bad.
Yeah, especially in college basketball, too. I mean, free throws are so huge, and that was a bit of a problem for them last year as well. You got to make the free ones. I'm with you on that. Do you have a record in mind that they might go in conference play?
I think you kind of nailed it at 7. I might be a little bit higher just because this team's learned to come back a lot. If they can do that again in conference play, I'll give them 9 wins. I'll give them 9, but I think if in order to do that, you're going to have to pull a few upsets. And do we know if that team has this in them? I don't know. I assume they're going to get better throughout the year because I believe in Matt McMahon as a coach, but they're going to have to pull some upsets to get to 9, but I have them at 9 wins.
And that is a silver lining there, right, for the season, is it starts out such a steep climb that it does get easier as you go along, and then they will have time to improve. I just through through 12 games. I mean, they still haven't put it together yet. And you had multiple opportunities against lesser opponents to do that, and they struggled to do that, which that gives me the pause for concern. You mentioned Adam Miller, and you're right. Look, Adam Miller, would you like the field goal percentage to be a little higher? Sure. But you still feel good, obviously, about him as an SEC caliber player and KJ Williams. Can you find one more? Is it Cam Hayes? Is it Derek Fountain? We'll wait and see. It is good that the defense has gotten better as well. But it's just, I mentioned LSU is nowhere close to bracketology. The SEC's got 7 teams in right now. I mean, that's half the league. The league is very, very, very strong this year, and it's going to be tough sledding, especially early for LSU. That's for sure. But they get it underway tomorrow night, 8 p.m., ESPN 2 if you can't make it out to the PMAC. But get to the PMAC, man. Pack the PMAC. Let's make an atmosphere for the guys. There were great atmospheres in that building last year. I was able to be a part of plenty of them. Get out there, support the team, support Matt McMahon and the Tigers as they open up SEC play against the Arkansas Razorbacks. 9th-ranked Arkansas Razorbacks tomorrow night in the PMAC. We're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. Tigers in the pros. Boy, there's some headlines coming out of the NFL stat-wise for the former Tigers this past week, and we'll go through it all to close out hour number 2 of After Further Review.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. As we move toward the new year, of course, Rouse's is a great option for everything you need in and around the new year for that gathering or just for your groceries every single day. Get to Rouse's and go to rouses.com. You can learn about their delivery and pickup options there at rouses.com. It's super easy. Or download the Rouse's app. You can go select your items. Your personal shopper will go pick them out for you. You pull up into any Rouse's location, of course, the designated location, and your shopper will bring the items out to your car, so you don't even have to get out the car. On days when it's either freezing cold or raining, that's super handy. And remember, they also have a delivery option as well. So if you don't even want to get in your car or get out, Rouse's takes care of you there as well. It's at Rouse's. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Locations all over the place. Get to Rouse's. Rouse's, this feels like home.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana Loyal. Always.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba. 100.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, back here, hour number 2 of After Further Review. As we wrap it up, let's do Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Let's start with Saints Browns. Tyrann Mathieu, big day for New Orleans on Saturday. Leading tackler for the Black and Gold, 11 total tackles in the game, including 1 tackle for a loss there for the Honey Badger in victory. On the other side, Grant Delpit, boy, he made his impact felt, doing what 2019 LSU just does in the pros. 7 total tackles for Grant Delpit. That's second on the team for Cleveland. Also had the interception of Andy Dalton, which he returned across midfield and put the Browns in excellent field position, resulting in their first score of that game. Oh, those Minnesota Vikings, home to many LSU Tigers. Justin Jefferson continues his quest to break the NFL single-season receiving yard record, and he is well on his way to surpassing Calvin Johnson's mark. 12 receptions off of 16 targets for Jets, 133, and a touchdown in that game. He's about 200 or so yards away from the record, so not unrealistic that he could do it in 16 weeks. Like, we've seen him go for 200 in the NFL before, but with 2 more games left, it feels almost certain there. Teammate Danielle Hunter, 7 tackles in the game, 5 of them solo, 2 sacks for Danielle in the game, 4 hits on the quarterback. That has him, those 7 tackles ranked 4th on the team for Minnesota. And then Patrick Peterson, still doing it, P2, 4 total tackles in the game and an interception in that one. The Vikings beat the Giants 27-24. Joey B and the Bengals, boy, they almost gagged it away against the Patriots, but they didn't. They won. Joey B, 40 completions in the game, 375 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. When everybody else was struggling with the weather, Joey B goes for about 2 bills in the first half. Also ran the ball 4 times for 5 yards. Of the 40 completions, Jamar Chase on the receiving end of 8 of them, 79 yards, 11 targets for Jamar, did not find the end zone. DJ Chark for the Detroit Lions in that one. Chark, leading receiver, 108 yards that came off of 4 receptions, long of 51. The Lions lost 37-23 to the Panthers, saw their streak of 8 straight covers come to an end in that one as 2.5-point favorites. To the NBA, Ben Simmons last night. Another win for the Brooklyn Nets. Now look, now the Brooklyn Nets are playing pretty well, actually. 125-117 over the Cavs. Ben Simmons, 34 minutes, 4 points. It's a big night for Ben, scoring. 9 rebounds and 8 assists. He almost had a double-double while scoring 4 points. It encompasses Ben Simmons' career in the NBA, I feel like, almost perfectly. Cam Thomas held out coach's decision. We are on Naz Reid, 29 minutes off the bench for the Timberwolves last night. Shot 8 of 15. Really solid shooting night. 21 points, 11 rebounds. So Naz does get the double-double and does it off the bench. Also blocked a shot, 2 assists. The Timberwolves, they fell 113-110 to the Heat. They now come to New Orleans to face the Pelicans on Wednesday night. Tari Eason continues a great rookie season for the Rockets. 17 minutes off the bench for Tari. 2 of 3 from the field. A perfect 4 of 4 from the free throw. Make your free throws, huh, Taylor? There you go. 9 points in all for Tari Eason. 2 rebounds, an assist, a steal, and a block. Keep in mind, he leads the Rockets in steals per game. And then finally, we have Trendon Watford for the Portland Trail Blazers. Watford, 16 minutes off the bench. 1 of 1, 2 points, 2 rebounds, an assist, and a steal. Blazers beat the Hornets 124-113. That is Tigers in the Pros. It is brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. New Year's Eve, diamonds. Sure, a lot of people propose on New Year's Eve. Go get your diamond. Go get your engagement ring at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They bring you Tigers and the pros here every single day. So really good show so far. 2 hours just about in the books. We've covered a lot. Talked Saints. We've talked Tigers. Brody Miller joined from The Athletic to talk LSU and Purdue in the Citrus Bowl. Well, really, we didn't really talk much about LSU and Purdue in the Citrus Bowl. More so the future of LSU and where the intrigue lies for the Tigers in that game and how awesome the Cheez-It room that Garrett Nussmeier gets to stay in, part of his NIL deal is. And we'll have more on that because Taylor's got strong thoughts about that. So that's going to happen a little bit later on in the show. Corey Roldan joined the show from WBRZ to talk Saints. We've had plenty of Saints talk today as they beat the Cleveland Browns and somehow, some way are still alive for the NFL playoffs. And actually, that's what we're going to talk about at the top of the hour is how they steal that spot. The playoff scenario for the Saints. It's not really that messy. It's actually quite simple, but we'll get into that next to start hour number 3. Still have to talk Pels as they got their 3rd win in a row as well. And Otterlocks still to come to close out the show in its normal spot. I got 4 bowl games today, one about to wrap up, actually. So stay tuned. Otter's going to have plenty for you there. Hour number 2 of After Further Review. It's in the books. We'll come back on the other side. Sports Center to lead you off. Then we're talking Saints playoff scenarios. Pels beating the Pacers as well. It's out After Further Review, a Tuesday show brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Musso in for Moscona. We roll on next. Stay here.
AFR.
Always a pleasure to tell you about our friends at the Williamson Eye Center. Check them out online at williamsoneye.com. They've got locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. On the Baton Rouge General Campus, you turn off a Bluebonnet onto Picardy, you make that right. And then right there at the stop sign, the building on the right, the first 2 floors, that's the Williamson Eye Center. State-of-the-art dry eye center, and it's full service. Of course, they have their state-of-the-art surgery center there where you can have your LASIK or whatever surgical procedure you're having. But they have your standard annual eye exam as well at the Williamson Eye Center. Learn more at williamsoneye.com. The thing I tell you every day is take the advice that I was given and change your life. To give yourself the gift of sight is absolutely incredible. If you're someone like me who spent your life with contacts or glasses, there is a way to be done with it forever. williamsoneye.com. Go see Dr. Blake Williamson for that free consultation. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com for the Williamson Eye Center.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit.
Let's go, defense!
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community.
We are the Tigers. Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside off the bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on a new 2022 Ford F-150, plus no payments for 90 days and 2.9% APR for 72 months. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Winter can be magical. The Mercedes-Benz winter event is here, and there's no better time to check out our new Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge inventory. We have the vehicles that can make your holiday extraordinary. See all the latest technological features on the newest models during our Mercedes-Benz winter event. Shop our best of the best award-winning dealership. Visit mbobr.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Arizona Cardinals defensive end J.J. Watt will retire at the end of the season. His last two games will be at Atlanta and at San Francisco. Watt is one of only 3 players to be the league's Defensive Player of the Year 3 times. He is 33 years old. Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa now in concussion protocol after telling team doctors about his symptoms. And ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum says the current NFL system to identify possible concussions during games isn't working.
There are rules and procedures in place that are supposed to be led by neutral physicians that are not affiliated with the team, that are jointly hired between the league and the union. I would say they need to be held accountable.
Mike Tannenbaum on KJ and Max. ESPN's Pete Thamel reports Wake Forest quarterback Sam Hartman will be a grad transfer. He enters the portal after a great career at Wake, setting the ACC record with 110 touchdown passes. The Mets are still spending, re-signing reliever Adam Ottavino to a 2-year contract for $14.5 million.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay, and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces? Come join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
Live from the 2022 SEC football, Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour number 3 of After Further Review, Tuesday show presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Musso sitting in for Moscona, Michael Patel producing, Taylor Sharp on the video. All right, so we're going to blow and go here with Saints playoff hopes or scenarios because really there's something bigger I want to talk about with the New Orleans Saints. But because somehow, some way, they are still alive and there's still mathematically a chance, got to mention it at least one more time. What you really need to know, win and have the Bucs lose. That's it. It's that simple. The Saints need to win their last 2 games. The Bucs need to lose their last 2 games. The next time the Saints lose, they're eliminated. The next time the Bucs win, the Saints are eliminated. Now, granted, the Bucs play Carolina this week. They've already lost to Carolina. When you do that again, Saints beat the Eagles, you're still alive for another week. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that could happen. What gets even more intriguing is that even if you beat Carolina, they still have a tiebreaker over you. So you need them to drop another game along the way as well. Especially given the fact that they would have beaten Tampa Bay to keep you alive in the first place. And they'd have better division record and so on and so forth. It's about a 4% chance that the Saints make the playoffs. I think we can all agree that's not happening. The inevitable has just been delayed. But that's your scenario if you want to keep hope alive and believe that they have a shot at doing it. Win out and have the Bucs lose out. That's simple. What's more intriguing, obviously, is the future of the New Orleans Saints. And we talked about it a little bit there with Corey Rowland in the last hour. And the future goes so much deeper than head coach because there is an aging roster, but there is major salary cap issues. But there's issues with the salary cap for the New Orleans Saints every year. The issue here is how can you trade those contracts, right? No one's going to take that on. Who's going to take on Mike Thomas's contract when he can't even get on the field? Or stay on the field, I should say. Same thing with Marshawn Lattimore. But everybody wants to talk about head coach of the future, and I get it. It's a massive part. It has not gone well for Dennis Allen. And we can all look back at the beginning and understand, yeah, it makes sense what they tried to do. I think most of us, if not all of us, were in favor of what they were trying to do. But it rarely works where you keep that same culture and you keep that same staff in place and just take out one guy, especially when the guy's the head coach. It rarely works to that same level, and it hasn't even been close, really, for the New Orleans Saints. And it goes deeper than just removing Sean Payton. I mean, look at Marcus Williams is no longer here. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, that move is just the one that really, really sticks in your craw if you're a Saints fan right now, right? And you have to watch the Eagles. You have your number one pick after the Olave thing, and they're the best team in the NFL right now. They're going to get a top 5 or a top 10 draft pick out of it. It's tough. And everybody wants to look at head coach, and I get it. And a few weeks ago when Jeff Duncan reported that there was interest from Sean Payton in possibly returning to the New Orleans Saints, you get your hopes up, right? And you should. Why not? And now, today, Pro Football Talk is reporting on that as well. With the caveat of Tom Brady joining Sean Payton in New Orleans. This isn't the first time that Pro Football Talk has reported on Payton returning to the Saints. They did that about a month ago, or earlier this December as well. Now they add Tom Brady to that equation, and this is where it gets interesting, right? So many people are on it. Payton could go back to the Saints. Payton could go back to the Saints. And one source is telling Pro Football Talk, as they put it, their words, one source with a finger firmly on the pulse of pro football told PFT that it's currently, quote, the worst kept secret in league circles. We all know the potential of that from 2020, right? Where Brady was out in New England. He was done. Drew Brees had retired. He was telling people at the Pro Bowl that he was done. He decided to come out of retirement, play the 2020 season, and Brady ends up in Tampa Bay, wins the Super Bowl. We all know how it went. We've heard that story reported plenty. The interesting thing is, what would it look like now if that happens? And I still think there's hurdles to get Sean Payton back in New Orleans, because I think there is going to be ample opportunity elsewhere. We talked about Denver. I don't think they're really a player because new ownership, no link to the GM, and their top 3 pick is going to Seattle. They have the 22nd overall pick to offer you for Sean Payton, and then they traded their 24 first-round pick to Seattle as well for Russell Wilson. So I don't really consider them much of a player. But there are still, what about the Chargers? What about the Panthers even? And I know they're not going to trade Sean Payton within the division. That's what you always hear with that. Fine. I get it. I know. That's still something you're going to have to consider when talking about it. The one, oddly, that you probably won't is the one that everybody thought you would, and that was the Dallas Cowboys, because I don't know how you fire Mike McCarthy when you still have an outside chance to win the division. You're going to make the playoffs, and he's been really solid as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. But the interesting part about this now is the re-addition of Tom Brady back into the equation, right? Because for the first time this season, Tom Brady's looked old. For the first time, Tom's looked like he's lost a step. Now, I get it. The Buccaneers have their own problems, right? They have a head coach that, in my mind, is very similar to Dennis Allen. Great defensive coordinator, bad head coach. They've had countless injuries along their offensive line. Gronk retired. You've had injuries to the receiving core, whether it be Chris Godwin, Mike Evans at times. He's been handcuffed a lot. But Brady's also just looked rough at times. He's missed throws. The interception numbers are there, but he still stands pretty well stacked up against the rest of the league. And you're never going to say no, right, to Tom Brady still, even at this point. But are you walking yourself into a trap potentially that you kind of had with Drew Brees? And maybe trap isn't the right word, right? Because you were going to ride that till the wheels fell off anyway. He was the best player in franchise history, took you to a Super Bowl. As long as Drew Brees wants to be your quarterback, he was going to be your quarterback. And even up until the end there, you were still productive with him. Your offense was still productive with him there. All the air yard stuff and everything, I know, whatever. You were still your best when he was at quarterback. But you've kind of seen the aging veteran under Sean Payton. Do you want to go that route again with Tom Brady? I think is a fair question. For me, yes, because it's Tom Brady. Like, of course you do. You're not going to say no to the greatest quarterback of all time if he wants to come and your head coach wants to your former head coach wants to, who had the most success in your franchise history, come back and bring him with you. You don't say no to that. I just think it is a lot more interesting, and it's not the same scenario as it was in 2020, where clearly you saw, all right, Brady still got it at the highest of level. You bring him in. You're a bit iffy now with that. And again, I think the situation for him in New Orleans, especially under Sean Payton, would be better. Because, as we kind of alluded to in this segment, I don't think the Saints are going to be able to trade away contracts. I think you have Michael Thomas back again next year. And if he's healthy, hopefully he's out there. And hopefully he's out there for a full season. You've seen what Chris Olave can do. Alvin Kamara, again, I don't think you're getting rid of that contract, right? So you're going to have him. That's better than anything that Tom Brady has had in Tampa Bay. All speculation, of course, but Pro Football Talk, they're reporting it and calling it, quote, the worst kept secret in league circles that Sean Payton wants to pair up with Tom Brady, and it could potentially happen in New Orleans. So something definitely worth keeping an eye on, something very intriguing. And again, for me, the answer is yes. If that's the case and Tom Brady wants to come, absolutely, 100%. He's the greatest quarterback to ever play the game, and you don't say no to that. Has it been rough this year? Sure. But that guy has shown you for more than 20 years now, he deserves the benefit of the doubt off one poor year towards the end of his career, because the previous few seasons in his 40s have been pretty darn good. And the intrigue with Sean Payton outweighs speculation, I think. Taylor, you look like you have something here. What you got?
Look, the problem is everybody keeps saying Brady's washed. Brady's so good that even if you think he's washed, he's better than you. I mean, he's fourth in the NFL in passing yards, behind only Mahomes, Burrow, and Herbert. Tied for fourth for the best touchdown to interception ratio, 66% completion percentage. This is behind a makeshift offensive line with a bunch of third stringers. Fournette's overweight. Rashad White's not that good. I mean, I'm not understanding the hate that everybody has for Brady. They're saying he's washed, and the fact of the matter is he's having a really good statistical season with virtually no help around him and a not-so-good head coach in Todd Bowles.
Yeah, so I mean, I agree. That's what I'm saying. For me, the answer would absolutely be yes. But again, I think the hurdles you have to get over to get Sean Payton back are plentiful. You have to fire Dennis Allen. And the Saints, and not just the Saints, anyone who's on that beat will tell you they don't believe that's happening. And look, the Saints are loyal, and they're loyal to theirs. And Dennis Allen is one of theirs, man. The second stint with the New Orleans Saints. All the good he did as a defensive coordinator. Look, no, it's been awful. And I'm telling you right now, I would make a change. I don't think that they do. The only way I think they do that is if you get a 100% guarantee from Sean Payton, I'm coming back and I'm committed. This isn't just a 2-year deal or whatever. I'm committed to finishing my career in New Orleans. That's the only way I think they get that done. Because they would absolutely, for Sean Payton, they'd absolutely do it. I mean, 100%, right? It's sorry that, like, yes, you make that move, but I don't think you get that assurance from him. I think there's hurdles in the way there. Is it real speculation? Is all that? Sure. But the hurdles are also very real there, including other openings in the NFL. But there you go. Yet again, Sean Payton and Tom Brady linked, wanting to be together. Now, don't forget the Miami, right? With the Dolphins. They're tampering, trying to get Brady and Payton there for this year. And the other thing I'll say is it feels like Brady's done in Tampa. Like, doesn't it feel like he's on his way out there? I mean, he got the Super Bowl there. Bruce Arians is not the head coach anymore. Not going well with Todd Bowles. All the stuff Taylor ran through there, makeshift offensive line, feels like he's out. So he's going to be somewhere else. And Sean Payton's going to coach next year. Those two things feel like a certainty. Could it be in New Orleans? Maybe so. If it is, I'm more than happy to accept that. We're going to grab a break, our first break here in the third hour. Come back on the other side. The Pels got their third win in a row, moved up in the Western Conference standings. Once again, we'll recap that game against the Pacers next here on After Further Review. Stick around.
AFR.
Love telling you about River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001. 752-0001. Love telling you about River City's 1 Hour Air because I love telling you about great companies that treat people right. That's River City's 1 Hour Air. They make you feel valued, and they make you feel comfortable. When you schedule service with River City's 1 Hour Air, when technicians come into the house, you get a phone call, an email, and a text message alerting you the technician's on the way. You get a text message with a picture, a photo, name, and reviews of that technician who's coming to your house. They take the time to explain everything. They're very thorough. They have equipment on the truck because they're so big on continuing education. They have equipment on the truck other companies don't even own, never even heard of. River City's 1 Hour Air. Nights, holidays, weekends, they'll always come out. They'll never charge you extra. River City's 1 Hour Air. Got a problem with your home central AC? Call River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001.
Yo, Jake and T-Bob here. We've been talking about the All-Star Toyota rentals for a while, so during vacation season, we wanted to remind you about them.
That's right. All-Star Toyota has daily, weekly, and monthly rentals with flexible plans and competitive rates that blow the other places out of the water. In fact, you can rent a new Toyota for as little as $60 a day. These rentals are perfect for out-of-town trips.
Years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Black Widow Jeep Gladiators in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit.
Let's go, defense!
We get it done with passion for our fans
And love for our community.
We are the Tigers. Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications. The powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility. Moving faster than ever before. Streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
and standard calibrations as well. Michelli.com. All of their different services and products are at the website. The website is a great virtual font of resources. So many times clients will say, oh, I didn't know you did that. So go to Michelli.com. The track system that they offer is a great asset. Track records, assets, and calibrations. It's an acronym. And what this allows you to do is track the status of the calibration of your devices. And then it also gives you a record of those calibrations at your fingertip online for free, 24/7, 365, so you can be more efficient. Michelli, weighing and measurement.
Back here after further review. Hour number 3 rolling on. New Orleans Pelicans. Oh, the Pelly Pals. Man, I've enjoyed me some New Orleans Pelicans basketball so far this season, and last night was no exception. Big win for the Pels last night over the Pacers, 113-93, runs their record to 21-12 overall in the season, 3 straight victories for New Orleans, up to second in the Western Conference by themselves, just a half game behind the Denver Nuggets. This game, in a way, just kind of took everything we talked about with the New Orleans Pelicans and threw it all into one. Anytime you've heard someone mention the New Orleans Pelicans early on in this NBA season, what's the one word that's been accompanied? Depth. They have the best depth in the league. And we've talked about it almost ad nauseum that they have the best depth in the league. And you know what? Last night against the Pacers was probably the best illustration of that depth so far this season. The New Orleans Pelicans had no Zion, no B.I., no Herb Jones, no Trey Murphy, no Dyson Daniels. B.I., Herb, Zion, those are starters. That's 4 starters. 4 guys who have started for you weren't there. And that game was a rout. And the Pacers aren't bad. Like, that's something that needs to be mentioned. The Pacers are good. Yeah, they're 17-17. Don't care. The Indiana Pacers will be there in the East fighting for a playoff spot or a play-in spot until it's done. They were coming off wins on the road against the Boston Celtics, who just might be the best team in the NBA, and on the road against the Miami Heat. That's a good team. Also, that's a team that beat you, the New Orleans Pelicans, earlier this year in November. And that game was the polar opposite of the first one last night. Run through it again. No Zion, no B.I., no Herb, no Trey, no Dyson Daniels. New Orleans was up 28 points going to the fourth quarter. And it's not like C.J. McCollum just went out there and dropped 40 like he did against San Antonio. No. He was your third leading scorer. Najee Marshall was fantastic for you last night. 22 points to lead all scorers. Shot better than 50% from the floor. Jonas was fantastic. Turns in another double-double. Scored 20 points. How about the minutes you get from Devontae Graham off the bench? 20 minutes, 11 points. Jackson Hayes, it's funny. We seem to have this conversation with Jackson Hayes just about every year. Like, oh, is this him taking the next step? Is this it? He's been really darn good the last 3 games. And was again last night. A near double-double. 15 points, 9 rebounds. It wasn't close, y'all. Without 4 starters. You look at the Pelicans last night. Also, they quelled 2 issues that had just been plaguing them. Definitely in that 4-game losing streak, but also even in in the wins against the Thunder and against the Spurs. Turnovers and allowing second chance points. And you nipped that in the bud last night too. The Pelicans only turned the ball over 14 times last night. You only allowed 6 offensive rebounds. The defense was outstanding, and it was outstanding shorthanded. You fell down early in the game by 10 at 16-6 midway through the first quarter. You clawed back, took the lead with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and you never looked back. Never looked back. Double digits the rest of the time. And yeah, look, they made a run in the fourth quarter. Fine, whatever. You were up 28 going into that quarter. You held them to 93 points, and you still won the game by double digits. That is, to me, one of the best wins the Pelicans have had all year. Because it showed off your depth at a rate that it hasn't, and because you fixed problems that had ailed you, and you did it shorthanded. That is 100% coaching. Credit to Willie Green and his staff. They've done a great job all year. They did a great job last night. Fantastic victory for the New Orleans Pelicans. Now you look forward. And you've got the Timberwolves coming in tomorrow night, 7 p.m. tip in the blender. And look, Minnesota, while they sit at 16 and 18, they're super talented. All right? I mean, they are better than that record indicates. When you got Rudy Gobert, you got Karl Anthony Towns on the same team. That's a good squad coming in. But what this sets up for New Orleans, because look, they're going to be a favorite in that game, and it's a game that they should win. It's a game I'm expecting them to win. You're getting good news. It looks like Zion Williamson, he said earlier today, he's going to play in the game. Willie Green, when he met with the media earlier today, mentioned Zion, Trey, and Dyson. All three of them went through a full practice and would be labeled as probable, listed as probable for the game against Minnesota. And Zion himself, when he met with the media, said he's playing. Said he missed too much time last year to not play now. Wanted to play against the Pacers, but couldn't get his legs underneath him. Now he feels great. So you're going to get Zion back in that game. It's a game that you should win and that I'm expecting you to win. Reinforcements hopefully seem to be on the way. And if you do that, you've done exactly what you needed to do. You won the 7 games in a row. You went on the 4-game losing streak. And yeah, you let a few get away. You let that second game against Utah get away. You let the game at Phoenix get away. And that stung. But you looked at the schedule and you saw, all right, manageable, right? The Spurs, they're not great. Thunder, they're playing a little bit better. On the road, they play well at home. Tough. Pacers, good team. But you get them at home this time. And then you have the Timberwolves. You looked at that 4-game stretch. Could you get them back? You're 1 game away from getting them all back before you hit another tough stretch in your schedule. That's exactly right. You beat Minnesota. You've got all 4 of them back. You're back to 10 games above 500, and you get ready to face the Sixers twice in 3 games, and then a road trip to Memphis sandwiched in between. It's just where you want to be if you're New Orleans at this point. Pellies have looked good, man, and looks like you're starting to get healthier again. The big question is Brandon Ingram. And if you're losing a little bit of patience, I don't blame you. It's easy to look at the diagnosis of a bruised toe and be like, where you at? And nobody should fault you for that. Right? I mean, it's kind of the same thing. The overabundance of caution that they've taken with Zion Williamson, whatnot. I get it. And there's not a world, as great as they've been right now, there's not a world where the New Orleans Pelicans are better without Brandon Ingram on the floor. They can be really good, but you're better with an all-star on the floor, right? You're better with him and Zion, 2 also, right? Comments, yeah. Hopefully you're getting him back. Willie Green did give an update there. Well, actually, first I should say, Andrew Lopez from ESPN posted a video last night on his Twitter of Brandon Ingram getting some shots up pregame, which is a fantastic sign. I'm not telling you that means, Brandon Ingram's coming back here in the next few days, because I don't think that's the case at all. In fact, Willie Green mentioned that today, that it's not. But to see him out there pregame in warm-ups instead of street clothes, getting some shots up, that's a great sign for the return of Brandon Ingram. This was Willie Green's update today on BI. Quote, he got on the floor just a bit. He's doing some player development stuff, still doing some conditioning. He's progressing, but not there yet. But at least he's back there out on the floor, right? You got a long way to go in this season. And it's been a great start for the Pellies so far, with a lot of good basketball in front of them, because they're only going to get healthier. And when you do reach that point where you have CJ, BI, Zion, Herb, Trey Murphy, those guys on the floor at the same time again, that's when you want to see this team get another crack at the Celtics or the Bucks. That's when you want to see this team really do what they do. I share in your frustration, for lack of a better term, when it comes to Brandon Ingram and when will he be back. But in the meantime, lean on that depth because it is the best depth in the NBA. And there's no better example of that than last night's win against the Indiana Pacers. Go beat Minnesota. Get all 4 that you lost in a row. Get them all back. Get to 10 games above 500. Head into your next tough stretch. Keep getting healthier. It's a fun time to watch the New Orleans Pelicans. It's a fun time to be a Pelicans fan. Get out to the Blender tomorrow night. Support the team. Be loud. Pack it out. Go get a win. Get to 10 games above 500. We're going to grab a break. Come back on the other side. Garrett Nussmeier might have signed one of my favorite NIL deals ever. And we're going to talk about it. Love your feedback on it as well. That's next. Otterlock still to come as well. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Take 60 seconds. Remind you about our friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana. For years, I've told you so many examples of your friends and neighbors, our listeners, who have called Insurance Network of Louisiana. This process is so easy. I don't want it to be intimidating because sometimes people think insurance, I don't know. I don't know what my coverage is. I haven't looked at it in so long. Don't be intimidated. At Insurance Network of Louisiana, the guys and gals over there are awesome, and they can walk you through the entire process. It's easy. It starts with one phone call. You call Insurance Network of Louisiana, they take a little bit of information, and then they go shop. They do all the work for you. And then they'll come back with you and let you know if they were able to find you better coverage for less money. It's basically like this, the analogy I give. Would you hire an agent if you were an athlete that could only negotiate with one team? Or would you rather hire an agent that can negotiate the best deal among all the teams? That's Insurance Network of Louisiana. 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Have you heard of NAD IV therapy? This is a very popular treatment that you can get at GoFlow IV Spa. NAD helps with addiction recovery, improves depression, brain health and function. This aids in mental clarity. NAD IV therapy also boosts energy levels, reduces overall fatigue.
And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045 ESPN.
Toyota in Opelousas is here to help you ring in the new year with no markups, and you'll never pay over MSRP. And we have new inventory arriving daily. So Happy New Year from our Corvell Toyota family to yours.
Nearly half of children in foster care drop out of school. But you can rewrite that story. Change a child's story. Become a volunteer today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7, The Tiger.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. 288-8138, 288-8138, or ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows. Beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, vinyl siding. They do it all. And at Relief Windows, they will never take $1 from you until you are thrilled with the work. Seriously, no deposit, no down payment. They do not want $1 from you until you are thrilled with the work that they do. That's Relief Windows. And what a time of year. We are moving to the winter months, and this is the time of year when those leaky, drafty windows can become costly. Of course, lets the cold air in, the warm air from your heater out. Make your home more energy efficient. Lower your monthly energy bills. Increase your home's resale value with energy efficient replacement windows from Relief Windows. 288-8138 or reliefwindows.com.
Back here after further review, third hour, putting a button on the auto lock still to come. 4 bowl games today. The Memphis Tigers are currently putting it on Utah State, 38-10. In the First Responder Bowl. We'll see what Otter has for you on the nightcap of the bowl games, maybe some college basketball, maybe NBA plays as well from Otter. That's Otter Locks. That's going to wrap us up here as it normally does. But, y'all, Garrett Nussmeier signed potentially a top 10 coolest NIL deal ever. At least I think so earlier today. So Cheez-It has 2 bowl games now, right? They have the Cheez-It Bowl, obviously, which they've had. I think that's out in Arizona, isn't it? I think that's
They are actually both in Camping World Stadium.
Oh, okay.
One's the 29th, and then the Citrus Bowl is the second.
Oh, wait a minute. They moved that Cheez-It Bowl in, didn't they? That used to be out in Arizona, right?
Probably for this NIL deal, I would imagine.
Potentially. I could have sworn that game was out in Arizona. Okay, but that makes sense. They could have had more than one hotel. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, so they have the Cheez-It Bowl, apparently in Orlando now, and the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, which LSU is going to play in against Purdue. They've selected a player from each of the 4 teams. So you have Oklahoma, Florida State facing off in the Cheez-It Bowl. You have LSU and Purdue, obviously, in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. Player from each team. So 4 guys. They signed an NIL deal, and they get to stay in the Cheez-It room, the Cheez-It hotel room. And this thing is awesome. We talked about it a little bit earlier with Brody Miller. Asked him if he'd want to stay in it. He said absolutely. The wallpaper is Cheez-It inspired. Everything. The Cheez-It blanket, I like it. I'd like to have it. I would absolutely 100% stay in the Cheez-It shower curtain. That was pretty cool. I think that's awesome. Me, 100%. I would stay in this room. I think it's great. Taylor, you don't necessarily agree.
I like it. I have some concerns with it. First off, they say it goes to the most absurdly cheesy player in the bowl games from the respective teams. I want to know how they determine that. Also, other than staying in the Cheez-It room, which is cool, I'm not saying it's not cool, what did they actually get?
Okay, see, I don't know. They didn't really say that. And see, that was my complaint. I was like, well, you mentioned nothing about a lifetime supply of Cheez-Its, and I would like a lifetime supply of Cheez-Its. I think that'd be great. I'll do whatever type of little ads you want me to do or whatever. You want me to voice one of the wheels of cheese in your corny commercials? We can work that out. We'll do whatever. I hear you on that, but they're getting some type of Cheez-It swag. Maybe they get some of the Cheez-It pillows or whatnot in there. I mean, the whole room, the color scheme is terrible, mind you. I mean, it's the red and orange from Cheez-It. Like, it's a lot, but it's still awesome. I mean, in the adjectives they use, the plush Cheez-It carpet, Cheez-It inspired artwork, luxurious red and yellow bedding. This is awesome. Like, I love this. And look, I mentioned earlier, there's going to be a lot of Cheez-Its in the room. Do you like Cheez-Its? I love Cheez-Its.
I love Cheez-Its.
They're fantastic.
You mentioned this earlier. Are they going to get a lifetime supply of Cheez-Its?
Well, that's what they better. They probably won't, but I
did some digging. Cheez-Its is owned by Kellogg's, who does the cereals. So I would demand a lifetime supply of cereal as well. And
or would you pick one? Would you want the Cheez-It or the cereal? Like if you could
I think you should get the pick. I think you should get the pick.
Any Kellogg cereal to have a lifetime supply. Also, you're an unhealthy cereal guy, or are you the healthy cereal guy?
I'm unhealthy. I like the Cocoa Krispies, all that type stuff.
Exactly. Any Kellogg cereal you wanted lifetime supply or Cheez-Its?
Only one type of cereal?
Only one. It's lifetime supply.
Okay, could I have any type of Cheez-It I want, or am I limited to one there as well?
Any type of Cheez-It.
Oh, I'll take the Cheez-Its then for the variety.
You're going with Tabasco, aren't you?
Well, did you see what they're doing with the fans?
Yeah, they have sweets.
Okay, but also they have the opportunity to spend the night before the Cheez-It Bowl inside of Camping World Stadium.
See, that's awesome.
Now, I don't want to do that because I personally don't want to be homeless, but...
You wouldn't be homeless.
You'd be sleeping with the other homeless people in the stadium.
There's not homeless people in the stadium.
You've never been to Camping World Stadium.
I haven't, but that's not before a bowl. That's not it. You get to sleep in the suite, maybe go out on the field or whatnot. See, the problem is I'd get in trouble if I was allowed to do that.
Well,
because I would end up someplace I'm not supposed to. Like I would go wander the stadium and end up places I'm not supposed to be. But that's
for sure.
That's what you should do if they're giving you the opportunity to do that.
So they have the Cheez-It themed hotel room replica in one of the end zones.
That's so cool. Like that's so cool.
That's cool, but
I would absolutely do that.
Why I don't want to stay the night in Camping World Stadium. I'll pass on that.
Why? It's the weather's going to be great. It's Orlando, Florida. Like it's not like it's going to be freezing.
Going to be spooning with a rat out of the concession stand the night before the game.
That's not going to happen. That's not what would happen at all.
Have you ever spent the night in a stadium? That's an outside stadium.
I'm just saying. No, that's why I'm so intrigued. I'd love to spend the night in a stadium. I think that'd be awesome.
It's January. It's probably going to be cold.
It's Orlando. It's not going to be cold.
It was cold here for like a week.
We're more northern than Orlando. It gets cold in Florida maybe twice a year.
My luck would be January 2nd.
No, so I think that'd be great. I think it's awesome that Garrett Nussmeier gets to do this. I think that's awesome that the fans. Now, did they say how they were picking the fans? Because I didn't see that in the press release.
No, they did not. I'm sure there's like a sign up and a drawing. Now, look, for no other reason than you don't have to have a roommate on the road trip. Happy for Nussmeier about that. Because, I mean, there's only one bed in there. I'm assuming they're by themselves.
It does look like a king bed, though, man. I mean, it's a solid bed. Like, that place is really cool. I'm all for it. I think it's awesome. I think if you don't like this, you hate fun. Like, seriously.
No, I like it. I think it could have been done a little better. I'm scrapping the fan thing.
That's even cooler than the player thing.
Does that take away from the NIL deal of the player, though?
Nah.
You don't think?
Nah.
I mean, they get to stay in the replica room while watching the game.
It's the replica room. It's not the real room. It's the replica room, and you're in the stadium with it. But I mean, there's only 4 players that get to do this. What would take away from it if it was like, all right, every one of LSU's running backs gets to stay in the Cheez-It room? Like, that would take away from it. But it's 4 guys. It's one guy from each team.
The good news about staying the night in the stadium, you're the first in line for any of the concessions that you might want.
There you go. Also, if you're staying in the stadium, if you don't bring a football and go out onto the field and play football, you missed an opportunity. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's where I'd get in trouble. I would go do things I'm not supposed to do.
If it was a dome stadium, I would do it. I just think it's
artificial turf. Let's not forget it was artificial turf after the melee that was LSU Penn State. That's when they were like, you know what? Maybe this should be a turf field considering it rains every day here. And Florida's like entire soil is based off of sand. Maybe we should do something about that.
At this point, I don't know why every NFL stadium's not domed. I haven't figured that out yet.
That's a Go-Coaster tradition, right? You can't dome Lambeau Field. The hell you can't dome Lambeau Field. I have one more Cheez-It thing. So when you eat Cheez-Its, I'm assuming you eat Cheez-Its, yes?
Yeah, I picked the Cheez-Its over the cereal.
That's true, you did.
It's like you don't pay attention at all.
Well, you did. Well, that's just because I would actually probably take the cereal over the Cheez-Its.
Which cereal? Do not say Raisin Bran.
No, well, see, I'm with you there. See, I'm not a healthy cereal guy. If I'm doing cereal, I'd have to I'd want the unhealthy. I mean, Frosted Flakes is a strong Kellogg cereal.
One. It's a good one.
But I'm not a huge Frosted Flakes guy. I think the first few bites are great. The first few initial bites of Frosted Flakes, fantastic. The rest of them, they're soggy in the milk. They're not that good. They're not that good. Sorry. And also the frosting washes off, and it's just cornflakes after that.
Lucky Charms are terrible.
Those are not good. See, I'm not a big Lucky Charms guy. I've pulled up their list of cereal because I didn't want to say that. Oh, see, Fruit Loops, man. Fruit Loops are great. I think Fruit Loops are really good.
Well, they probably
good
got the Fruit
Kellogg's.
Loop and Applejack market cornered there.
Yeah, I might go Fruit Loops if we're going Kellogg's cereal. I might go Fruit Loops is the one I'd take.
I'd go Cocoa Krispies. I like those.
That's a good one. I mean, that's a good one for sure. But hey, wait, you distracted me again. So wait, the question I have for you with the Cheez-Its, when you eat Cheez-Its, are you the guy who has to make sure the salted side is down on your tongue?
No, I just eat it like a normal person.
Okay, well, I'm here to tell you, if you were to put the salted side down on your tongue before you ate every Cheez-It, it would change your entire thought process on Cheez-Its because it is fantastic. Like, there is a difference. It's so good. Try it. Try it.
I'll try it. You know, the original Cheez-Its, those are probably my least favorite. I like the 5-cheese Italian. It's a good one. Cheddar Jack. It's a good one.
That's a good one. I like the Tabasco ones, man. I like the hot ones.
I haven't had them.
They're good. They actually got a pretty good kick to them, too. They got a kick to them. We spent an entire segment talking about cheese. Well, yes, James Fortenberry, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, of course, but I don't think that's not Kellogg's. That's the thing.
I think it
is.
is.
Is it? I don't think it is. Is it?
I don't know. You got Kellogg's and Post, and they're kind of.
If it is, it's Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Well, and then who owns General Mills? Because General Mills has a lot of them, too. Is that Kellogg's also?
I don't think so. I mean, why wouldn't they just be under the Kellogg's brand?
Kellogg's has the market cornered.
Why would they be under the General Mills brand if it's owned by Kellogg? You know
I think Cinnamon Toast Crunch is General Mills.
And it's fantastic, by the way.
Yeah, it's good.
Like, the cereal itself is good. It's not just the milk. The milk's great, but the cereal itself's great. Like, I'll eat dry Cinnamon Toast Crunch and be content. It's fantastic. It's awesome. So, for sure. But Cheez-It Bowl, man. And also, the MVP of the Cheez-It Bowl, you get a championship belt. That's so good. Like,
so what do you get if you win the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl? Do you get another championship belt?
Probably.
Because they're kind of treating them as like the same.
We'll find out when insert LSU player here wins the MVP and gets whatever. I hope it's a championship belt. That's great. That's fantastic. And, you know, they douse the coach with Cheez-Its. Yes.
I like that. I do like that.
That's awesome. Like,
well, I like that the Cheez-Its is sponsoring the Citrus Bowl, keeping with the orange theme.
Love it.
That's good.
Love it. But, I mean, you know, look, in this age of college football where bowl games carry less importance, you got to find a way to make them fun. Whether it's the Mayo Bowl, dumping the mayo on people, or, you know, dumping the French fries on the guy who wins the Potato Bowl, that's great. I like that. And I'm not saying that's going to make players stay in and not opt out of bowl games, but you got to make it
What
fun.
do they do for the Bad Boy Mower Bowl?
That's a cool, just grass clippings on everybody.
Loser has to cut the grass.
Oh, the field?
In the stadium, yeah.
Yes. Well, what if it's artificial turf?
See, there's your other problem.
You
got to just play it on natural grass.
Yeah. I just think dump grass clippings on the coach. That'd be hilarious.
Don't mind it.
That'd be great, man. That'd be the two. Les Miles would have been in heaven if that happened to him, man. Dump grass clippings. That'd have been right up his alley right there. All right, Cheez-It Bowl, Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. I think they do a great job. I love it. Again, we spent an entire segment talking about. Oh, one more thing, actually. If we don't get like an Instagram live of Garrett Nussmeier waking up and saying, I woke up feeling the cheesiest, then this whole thing's terrible. I've changed my opinion. All of it's awful, and they should never do it again. That has to happen. Like, I need that. Maybe not just from Garrett Nussmeier, from one of the guys. I need that very, very badly. So hopefully it happens. Awesome NIL deal. I'm a fan. Love Cheez-Its. Really cool experience. We're going to take a break. Come back on the other side. Close out a Tuesday edition of After Further Review. Otter Locks to do that with us next on AFR.
AFR.
If you are even thinking about selling your home, I'm going to give you a phone number. I'm going to give you the only phone number that you will need. I'm going to give you Darren James's phone number. It's Darren's cell. Like, you can call this number, you can text this number, and you are literally calling or texting the phone number that Darren James has in his pocket or on his hip. I'm talking about the realtor that sells more homes than anybody. A guy on the Wall Street Journal is listed the top 1,000 realtors in America based on the number of homes sold. You ready? 335-7666. 335-7666 or agent225.com. Of course, you can go to the website, agent225.com. If you need to sell your home, you need to maximize your return on the home, you want a hassle-free, pleasant experience, you need Darren James. 335-7666 or agent225.com. If you need to sell your home, you need Darren James. Agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James. Three people walk into a bar. The first two order the same old margs. The third, Nuevo Topo Chico Margarita Hard Seltzer. Crafted with real lime juice and a crisp tequila flavor. Topo Chico Margarita Hard Seltzer.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Black Widow Jeep Gladiators in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Full day of bowl action today. 4 bowl games today. 2 of them already in the books. Buffalo a winner and Memphis a winner. Coastal Carolina and East Carolina just underway, about 10 seconds actually into that ball game. You got another one tonight, the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Wisconsin, they face off against Oklahoma State. That's your nightcap. See what we're looking at for action on these games. For that, we'll go to Jimmy Ott and Otterlocks.
Otterlocks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
Otter, how are we doing?
Points like with 5 minutes to go in the
Otter, hello.
And barely get a first down.
Otter. Mike, call him back. He's breaking up, and I'm not quite sure he's totally there right now. All right, we're going to try to reconnect with Otter. Don't really know what was happening there. Sounded like he was talking off the phone to others, and also couldn't totally tell because the phone was breaking up. So not sure. But look, we're looking at Wisconsin right now. I'm sure Otter will have a play in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, Wisconsin, Oklahoma State.
Hello.
The Badgers. Hey, Otter, there he is. You all set?
Yeah, I'm here.
Perfect.
I hear you and I hear the feed. So,
Mike, take that. He has a feed in his ear from ESPN. Perfect.
Okay.
All right, Otter, what are we looking at tonight? Wisconsin, Oklahoma State?
Okay. I was wondering, are we on the air now?
Of
All
course. We're here. We're ready to go. I need action,
All
Otter.
right. Well, I don't know, Matt tweeted it earlier. We got East Carolina here, Coastal. It's a strange thing. Grayson McCall, 3-time Sun Belt Player of the Year. He is out. He's entered the transfer portal, but he will play this game. Problem is, all kinds of Coastal players have left. And this is the part where your coach leaves and, on his own for another job. He's going to Liberty. Not the biggest upgrade, but big upgrade in pay. And so he's on his way. East Carolina driving here with the first drive. They should score a lot of points. We gave that one out a little bit earlier, East Carolina. Wisconsin and Oklahoma State. You want to talk about guys missing left and right. I mean, where do you want to start? Graham Mertz, starting quarterback for Wisconsin. He's out. Starting quarterback for Oklahoma State, Spencer Sanders. He's out. The starting center, guard,
About 30 seconds.
linebacker, defensive tackle, including the Big Ten tackle leader, all out for Wisconsin. Luke Fickell's going to make an attempt to coach this game, being on the job for a couple of weeks. We've already seen Oklahoma State's backup quarterbacks. They are, nauseating. They're missing a DB, a defensive tackle. Their leading wide receiver, a defensive end. 14 total Oklahoma State players entering the transfer portal. Musso, this is like a game.
What's the pick, Otter? I got to run here.
Under.
All right, Otter. Y'all tune in. Jimmy out. Otter locks for that.
Listen for Matt tomorrow for the game. That's all. We'll give out the picks later for the early games.
All right. AFR. This has been AFR. Thank you.
AFR.